A little bit tour around the house where our Emperor Haile Selassie lived as an exile. So we're going up the stairs. We're going first to Empress Manan prayers room. So this is the room behind me. Oh. I need to take my shoes off quickly. Okay. I'm here with Benjamin.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending this evening. And as William just mentioned, on Sundays throughout the year, we do historical guided tours at Fairfield House. And that's to explain about who the Emperor and Empress and Ethiopian royal family were, why they were at Fairfield House, and then importantly, what impact that has in the world today and on our communities here at Fairfield House. And Fisiha and I right now are standing in probably the most sacred room that we have in the house. It's a sanctified space for the Ethiopian Orthodox faith. And this was once Empress Menen's personal space and where she would pray also. So thanks to a great initiative from Her Imperial Highness Princess Esther, the co-chair of Fairfield House Bar CIC, she went on a pilgrimage to Sነበetech Monastery in Ethiopia. And there they have a prayer room that was used by Empress Menen. And in that spirit of that room, this space at Fairfield House has been recreated to match a prayer room of the Empress. So last year in May, that was when all this took place, this transformation in this room. And then we had a ceremony. Do you want to say about it, Cynthia?
Yeah. I'll say that, I guess. So here in the bench in the Galazzo, yeah. ንግስት መነን የጸሎት ቤት ነበር ይሄ ማለት ነው። ቤቱ እንደ ጸሎት ቤት እንደገና በደንብ እንዲመረቅ እቃዎች ከኛ ሀገር ከኢትዮጵያ ከገዳማት እቃዎች በፕሪንሰስ አስቴር አማካኝነት ከመጡ በኋላ ቄሶች መጥተው እቃዎቹን እንዳሉ የቤተክርስቲያን ቁሳቁሶችን በጠቅላላ ቄሶች መጥተው በቅዳሴ በመባረክ ተደርጎ ቤቱ ተቀድሶ እንደገና ለጸሎት ሩም ተብሎ ተቀምጧል ማለት ነው። ልክ የዛን ጊዜ በስደት እያሉ ቤቱን ይጠቀሙበት እንደነበረ እንደ ታሪክ አቀማመጡ ተብሎ የተቀመጠ ማለት ነው። So እዚህ here in the bench እንደገለጸው የመስጋናት መነን የጸሎት ቤት ነበር ይሄ ማለት ነው። ቤቱ እንደ ጸሎት ቤት እንደገና በደንብ እንዲመረቅ እቃዎች ከኛ ሀገር ከኢትዮጵያ ከገዳማት እቃዎች በኋላ ቄሶች መጥተው እቃዎቹን እንዳሉ የቤተክርስቲያን ቁሳቁሶችን በመባረክ
and it's about His Imperial Majesty and his lasting impact on the African diaspora. His Haile Selassie, 1892, forever, his relationship with the African diaspora. And that actually starts when he's just 10 years old with his first tutor, Dr. Joseph Italian, a man from Guadeloupe in the Caribbean. And then the impact of Adwa in the 1920s, the Ethiopians on a royal tour of Europe, and how that broke apart the racial paradigm because everybody saw the nobility of the Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie and his retinue, the other nobles of Ethiopia that toured Europe. And this is just following on from the impact that Adwa had and caused the rise of the famous Ethiopianists in the 1930s, people like Marcus Garvey. And we had his son, Dr. Julius Garvey, visit us at Fairfield House, which was a great honor for Marcus Garvey's son to visit here, someone that's been so inspirational across Africa. In this exhibition on this side, we remember His Imperial Majesty's place in the African Union. as one of the founding fathers and the father of Africa, as was his official title. And when his visits to the United States, and how he was an ongoing inspiration to Black people in the world that were suffering from oppression. And the famous poet Langston Hughes, he said of Haile Selassie, he said, he's the symbol of a dream that will not die. And that's what we have here at Fairfield House. The Emperor's legacy is still alive and well. And this wall remembers the Emperor's visits to the Caribbean. And he visited in 1966 Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Jamaica, and Haiti. And then we finish with the legacy of Fairfield House and the legacy of the Emperor across the African diaspora, which is, of course, reggae music, where many people will hear about Emperor Haile Selassie and his messages for peace on earth. In Shashamani, in Ethiopia, Haile Selassie gave land to Black people of the West to return home, and in recognition of the support that they have given during the Second Italian invasion. And at the African Union, where Pauline and William were recently in Keith, they have a great statue of His Imperial Majesty, as they should. And then at Fairfield House, as we'll see on Sunday, these scenes of the Ethiopian community, the Rastafarian community, the Caribbean people of Bar, the Chinese community, the Indian community, and many other people at Fairfield House that make use of this space, the local people of Bar. So what we have here is a multi-faith and multi-community place of welcome, where we're celebrating His Imperial Majesty's legacy. And on that note, we'll go now. You don't want to do that, that's on that note, we'll go now to our museum space at Fairfield House, which is His Imperial Majesty's bedroom.
I try to stay them out. Be afraid.
Well, then you do it now. It's specific mode.
This is a painting that we have here, traditional Ethiopian painting from the early 20th century of the Battle of Adwa. Up here. And we shared this on our social media, and many people that come to Fairfield House, this may be the first time that they hear or properly actually have a think about the impact of the Battle of Adwa. You want to say anything?
Yeah.
Namarinya?
But then, I don't know when was it donated to the house? Many years back.
Yes.
ከቤቱ ለቤቱ ከተሰጠ በጣም ቆይቷል። አንዱ ቤት ውስጥ አለ የሚባለው የአድዋን ስዕል የሚያመለክት በጣም የሚያምር ሁሉ ጊዜ የምንጠቀምበት የሚያምር ስዕል ነው። ያ ሁሉም ሰው ይወደዋል። Yeah.
And because Ethiopians are known because of Adwa as these ferocious warriors in the world, in the early 20th century, people all across Europe and America, they could play with small figurines of the Ethiopian soldiers. And down in this cabinet, we have, if you can see there, Emperor Menelik, he's on his horse marching to the Battle of Adwa. And these are some of the earliest figurines that we have in the museum from the early 20th century. At the top here, we have an Ethiopian army marching against an Italian army. And then in this section of the museum over here, we remember Solomon and Sheba and the Solomonic dynasty of Ethiopia. And we have the orders and decorations of Ethiopia on display in the museum. And of course, in the 1950s, His Imperial Majesty in the Guinness World Records, he had the most bemedaled chest. He was the most decorated world leader in his time. And he was also the most traveled world leader. This is the whistle-stop tour around the museum, and if you ever come to the UK, for those outside of the UK, do come to Fairfield House on a Sunday, and you'll get the full historical guided tour, and we go through what happened in the house. But here we have a portrait of the emperor that he posed for in 1936. So we're very lucky to have this painting at Fairfield House, and you can only imagine what was going through his mind in that time.
Okay.
It used to be the right.
I think that's the only one I'm going to say. ይሄኛው ለሁላችንም ታሪክ እንዲሆን የተሰጠነው ሴትዮዋ ከስኮትላንድ ስኮትላንድ ያ ፔንትን ተደርጎ ለቤት የተሰጠ ድጎማ ነው እና ዋናው መናገር የፈለገው ቤንጂ እሑድ ሁሌ ቤቱ ቱር ይካሄዳል 45 ደቂቃ የሚፈጅ ቱር አሁን ትንሽ ተፋጥነዋል የተናገሩ ሁሉ በአማርኛ ይገባል ይቆያል ፕሮግራሙ ነገር ግን ፕሮግራም ሁሉ እሑድ ስላለፈ ዝግጅት ቱር የሚያደርግ ጊዜ ስታገኙ ቡክ ማድረግ መምጣት ይቻላል
And in this section of the museum, we have items of clothing, the Ethiopian traditional kaba, and these belong to Rastafari in the 1920s, and he gifted them to a British minister in Harare, and they've been loaned to us at Fairfield House. So we're seeking to become an accredited museum, and this means we have to detail how we're going to preserve and display and care for these items at Fairfield House, these very special items.
Yeah, quickly this one. ይሄኛው በ1920 ጊዜ በ1920ዎቹ ጊዜ ለገዘማን የሚኖሩት ካምፓ ነበረ እዛ ሐረር ሀገር ውስጥ እያሉ በእንግሊዝ እንደ ካውንስል ሆነው የሚሰሩ ሰው የነበሩ ለሳቸው የሰጧቸው ሰውዬ በአጋጣሚ ሆኖ ለልጅ ተላልፎ የልጅ ልጅቷ እዚህ ቤት መጣ ስጦታ ሳይሆን አዋሰችን ማለት ነው እና በክብር ተቀምጧል ከተወሰነ ጊዜ በኋላ ለሷ ተመልሶ ይሰጣል ነው የሚገርም ነው ያ ለኔ ለብሱት ነበር ማለት ነው
And our short tour of these special rooms of Fairfield House will end over here because the last time the Emperor visited Bath and Fairfield House was in 1954. And on that visit to Great Britain, he was a state visitor. So he received all the recognition that he deserved, and he wasn't visiting as a refugee. So he had a royal visit in London with Queen Elizabeth greeting him. And he was the second visitor that she received after her coronation. And in Downing Street, we have a photograph of Winston Churchill, Britain's most famous prime minister. And he's bowing his head down low to Ethiopia's emperor.
Yes.
So thank you very much, and do visit Fairfield House and continue to support Fairfield House. And we hope that everyone enjoys the Race to Adler celebrations. Thank you.
Okay. ብዙም ብዙም ምንፋይተት ጊዜ ይሄ በስደት ጊዜ ያውሉ ስቃይ ያውሉ መከራ አገራችን ሲታገሉ በቀዩበት ወቅት አልፎ ተከተመለሱ በኋላ በ1954 ከመጡ በኋላ እንደ ስቴት ቪዚት የመጡ ጊዜ ያረጉት ፎቶ መቀየር ናቸው ያኛው እንግዲህ ያው ሊጎበኙ ሲመጡ ይታያቸዋል ቸርችል ራሱም ዘቅዘቅ ብሎ አንገቱን ጎንበስ አድርጎ ለኤምፐረር ስላሴ ሰላምታ ያቀረበ ይታያል ይሄ ደግሞ ፍሪደም ኦፍ ዘ ሲቲ ተብሎ ባዝ ለሳቸው በሳቸው ስም የተሰየመ ጊዜ ነው yes the same again yes
United Nations
yes
the Emperor's visit to the Caribbean and then the sad end to the Solomonic dynasty of Ethiopia yeah with the Turk
so ለጊዜው ቱሩ በዚህ ያልቃል ማለት ነው እናመሰግናለን so we go downstairs So we're touching it yalla. The next one is we're going to need the poem reading session now. So we have a poem to be read out by Ras Takala. You want to take my chair? You can stand and sit. Anyway, all three. I'll hold it for you. Ras Takala. There you go. Can see you there. Yeah, fine, good.
Okay, listed of greetings. Can I say, Adawa means much to me as it means to everybody. And let me just quickly say that there's genuinity, if there's such a word as genuinity, if there's such a word as genuinity, but there is now in my vibes, because my daughter is 28 years old and her name is Adawa. So it's not just today that I thought, when I heard about this story, it's unbelievable. And let me just quickly say that in 2,000 years' time, people won't believe that this is real, because they'll say that there's no way it could have happened because of the artillery and the power. It's impossible. It's unbelievable. The Battle of Adawa. Sunday, the 1st of March, 1896. The enemies of Ethiopia tried their funny little tricks, but at the Battle of Adwa, they fell into their very own pits, as victory belonged to the excellent Ethiopians, as they protected their own sovereignty and that of Empress Tetu and Menelik. Empress Menelik II always held reverence for the Creator in times of peace and in times of disorder. Emperor Menelik II knew his honorable place in his true master. Just like his forefathers, he defended the church and followed its holy order. The Battle of Adawa was a terrible and dreadful war. Greed, power, and selfishness was at the core. Envy, jealousy, the swindling, spiteful, insidious Italians wanted more. Violent and vicious, through the exquisite land of Ethiopia, they cut and tore, and left many excellent Ethiopians lifeless on the floor. With hatred, the enemies of Ethiopia broke down the door. The insidious Italians represented the eerie European countries that walked without condor. But as the insidious Italians pushed their way through Ethiopia, the eerie European nations shouted, "Encore!" The insidious Italians tried to deceive Negus Menelik II, twisting their oaths they had swore. The injustice of the matter, Russia, France, and Turkey would not simply ignore, though the excellent Ethiopians were basically on their own, just as before. The insidious Italians had written a treaty for the sake of peace and harmony, supposedly. But the Treaty of Vercelli wasn't written with sincerity, for deception was found by majesty. The excellent Ethiopians were given a treaty, while the insidious Italian version of the same treaty told a completely different story. When the deception was uncovered, Empress Tetu wanted Ethiopia to have no part in the folly, for the Treaty of Vercelli would have made the exquisite Ethiopian land a mere colony, and the excellent Ethiopians mere puppets to the rapacious Romans of Italy. Empress Tetu praised the honor of the clerk in warning Emperor Menelik II of the insidious Italians' treachery, but rebuked the Ethiopian translator and the insidious Italian envoy, Count Antonelli. Emperor Menelik II eventually rejected their treacherous treaty, that in turn infuriated the insidious Italians and forced Rome to send an army. With pride and supremacy, the rapacious Romans violated human dignity by calling for General Oresti Baratieri to attack the excellent Ethiopians in their own country. The insidious Italians captured the cities of Adgrat, Adawa, and Makele. For a time, the insidious Italian General Baratieri was seen as a champion for his crime. The rapacious Romans glorified their general in the light that was lying. Meanwhile, Emperor Menelik II immobilized over 100,000 troops, warriors, to purge Ethiopia from the slime. With the insidious Italians outnumbered and forced to fall back and retreat, Emperor Menelik II offered the insidious Italians a kind gesture before their inevitable defeat. Emperor Menelik II offered safe passage so that they could keep their lives, hands, and their feet. But the rapacious Romans insisted on war, for they preferred the bitter rather than the sweet. So the excellent Ethiopians crushed the insidious Italians and ran them out of every valley, hill, and street. The commanders of the forces of Ethiopia faced a dreadful situation. Ras Elula Ngida, Ras McConnell, Walter Michael Ras Mengesha Yoans, Ras Michael of Wolof, Tekel Hamnot of Gojam. Invaded by the tyranny of a mad enemy that only wanted Ethiopia to add to their collection, the enemies of Ethiopia sought to inflict pain, distress, and mass destruction. For the excellent Ethiopians would not simply bow or succumb to their sleazy strangers' invasion. They would fight to the bitter end, to the very last, without hesitation. Empress Tetu and Emperor Menelik, the second field marshal, led the way with courage, justice, and determination. The enemies of Ethiopia felt the brunt of the excellent Ethiopians' mystical and mysterious vibration. Sunday, the 1st of March, 1896, the enemies of Ethiopia tried their funny little tricks, but at the Battle of Adwa, they fell into their own pits, as victory belonged to the excellent Ethiopians as they protected their own sovereignty and that of Empress Tetu and Menelik. With the power of right on the excellent Ethiopian side, the enemies of Ethiopia didn't get the expected easy little ride. On the contrary, Baratelli and his army had to scurry and hide. The excellent Ethiopians, with firmness and purpose, eventually turned the tide. Ethiopians worldwide were honored and by some glorified. Menelik II and the greatness of his throne, the Lion of Judah, was magnified. The victory of the Battle of Adawa becomes an example to study. The big, dirty bully fell on his knee, just like Goliath in biblical history. Good over evil will always win in time eventually. In circumstances such as war, good over evil will always win in time eventually. In circumstances such as war, unification is the key. And the excellent Ethiopians united as one immediately. The victory of Adawa is a celebration to be held every year to remind us all of how the excellent Ethiopians conquered their own fear and overcame their enemies and made them all disappear. When the enemies of Ethiopia fled the scene of the crime, the excellent Ethiopians could once again sing, dance, cheer, and feel fine. Honor was maintained, and the enemies were tamed and all put in line. Sunday, the 1st of March, 1896, the enemies of Ethiopia tried their funny little tricks, but at the Battle of Adwa, they fell into their very own pits, as the victory belonged to the excellent Ethiopians, as they protected their own sovereignty and that of Empress Tetu and Menelik. The excellent Ethiopian warrior fought with all of his heart. The excellent Ethiopian woman also played her part. The excellent Ethiopian woman was in more than the shadows from the very start. It was the excellent Ethiopian woman that fed the belly of the warrior and pushed the wounded in a cart. The excellent Ethiopian woman tended to those warriors in great need. When the excellent Ethiopian warrior fell, the excellent Ethiopian woman nursed him with compassion, efficiency, and speed. The excellent Ethiopian woman marched side by side with the warriors, clearing the campsites so that the warriors could take rest and feed. It was because of the excellent Ethiopian woman's actions that made the military operations able to proceed. The brave, excellent Ethiopian woman was exceptional in everything she'd done. Her behavior, her composure, her conduct is why the excellent Ethiopians won. The excellent Ethiopian woman dug trenches and awoke the warriors early at dawn. The excellent Ethiopian woman was fearless in spying, and she would not leave the warriors forlorn. The excellent Ethiopian woman gathered munition, arms, and buried the excellent Ethiopian warriors whose lives were torn. Excellent Empress Tetu, historically one of the greatest commanders of the female gender, fulfilled the oath that she had sworn. A few months prior to the Battle of Adwa, Empress Tetu defended her beloved Ethiopia with ingenuity, intellect, wisdom, and power. The excellent Empress foresaw what others couldn't see or comprehend by simply stopping the enemy's water. the insidious Italians gave up their fortified position at Mekelle with a full surrender. This achievement, along with the previous victory at Ambalash, encouraged the excellent Ethiopians to rid Ethiopia from the insidious Italians forever. It was the excellent empress that forced the hand of the invader. With prudence and intelligence, Empress Tetu proved to be a supreme commander. In essence, the excellent Ethiopian woman was at the core of the Ethiopian victory, for without her efforts, the excellent Ethiopian warrior would have lacked stability. The excellent Ethiopian woman took the strain over the rough terrain for the sake of the campaign to secure her beloved country. As the excellent Ethiopian warrior is praised for his valor, we praise the excellent Ethiopian woman for her strength and for her character. Equally, with humility, grace, and honor. Sunday, the 1st of March, 1896, the enemies of Ethiopia tried their funny little tricks, but at the Battle of Adara, they fell into their very own pits. As victory belonged to the excellent Ethiopians, as they protected their own sovereignty and that of Empress Tetu and Menelik. The victory of Adara came at a time when the Arab Europeans were committing worldwide and catastrophic crime, invading countries at will and ever ready for wartime. The Arab Europeans girded themselves with supremacy. They looked upon themselves as the best of humanity in thought, mind, and body. As far as the Arab Europeans were concerned, the world was theirs and theirs to rule. If anybody should oppose, they must be insane or be a fool. They used riches of corruption, though violence actions was their main tool. But when the early Europeans met the excellent Ethiopians and introduced political chicanery, everything changed. The whole mindset of the Arab Europeans had to completely be rearranged, as the raging Romans and the excellent Europeans became, as it were, estranged. Many brave, beautiful, excellent Ethiopians knew that they would fall, yet each one of them, with courage, undaunted, answered Emperor Menelik's call, so that the excellent Ethiopians could remain standing, honorable, righteous, and tall. With the Arab Europeans being defeated by the excellent Ethiopians, it brought a new and ancient age. For the Arab Europeans had to accept that the excellent Ethiopians would not and could not be bamboozled, misinterpreted words on a page. Also, that the excellent Ethiopians had the ability to fight with military strategy, intelligence, and ferocious rage. The excellent Ethiopians were seen by the oppressed people around the world as a liberating, shining light, demonstrating what could be achieved if you believe with justice, guns, and the rights. The excellent Ethiopians showed the world that unification with equity can overcome the most hazardous plight. Sunday, the 1st of March, 1896. The enemies of Ethiopia tried their funny little tricks. But at the Battle of Adwa, they fell into their very own pits, as victory belongeth to the excellent Ethiopians, as they protected their own sovereignty and that of Empress Tetu and Emperor Menelik. Listen.
Oh, thank you very much. That's superb. Wow. Really great. So the next one, I think with a slight delay, we very apologize. So maybe perhaps now, while we're sorting out the Princess Astrid, could we bring Lij Mulugeta Asrate? Please, let's hear your experience, memories, or whatever you would like to say about the house, please. Miriam or Eleanor, could you give a mic and turn the screen on for Lij Mulugeta?
Yes, we requested him. Yeah, I think he's able to speak now.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Luis Brigetta, thank you for coming. You got so much memory, experience, lived a long time. Please, share your experience with us.
You know, as we age, our memory fades. Very nice to see you all, and happy.
Camera on if you can, only if possible.
I can't. I was trying to look. Where is it? I got myself a new desktop, and
do not worry.
Why is that?
Bottom left.
Huh.
Bottom left, we're going to start video.
Bottom left. Yes. Hold on. Yeah. There we are. You can see me?
No, አቶ ሙልጌታ ምናልባት ካሜራውን አንድ ከቨር ያደርጉባት ነገር አለ. You have to find that and slide it.
No, I haven't got an exterior camera. It's all built in now.
Yes. Is it a laptop?
It's a laptop.
Right in front, the center top, there is something you can slide to open the camera.
And then the slide ነገር ይሸፍናል ይከፈታል.
I know, but there's no.
Is it HP?
No, it's Mac.
Oh, Mac. It should have a camera without any problem.
Can't see a sign of a camera.
But don't worry, we can hear you nice and loud and clear.
I can imagine what you look like.
But very nice to see you all, and happy Adwa Day, everybody. 127 years. It just dawned on me that every time we meet this time of year, we are celebrating two cousins, aren't they? Minilik and Haile Selassie. Hold on, what's this?
Can you try your video now, maybe, Lij Mulgeta?
He lost his audio now. Please try to unmute. Okay. We have.
How very unfortunate. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Yes.
Why can't you hear me?
We can.
I can hear you now. Now it's good.
Okay, good. Excellent. Funnily enough, 2 weeks ago, I met Mr. Seligman from Dublin, and his grandfather used to live in Bath. At the time, the emperor resided at Fairfield. And he told me an interesting story, which is that the emperor's dietary requirement was one of two things. The first was he loved game birds, and his grandfather used to bring with him pheasants. Who in the Ethiopian entourage would prepare a pheasant is a mystery, because we're not so used to in Ethiopian culture. The second and the most important one was his love for oats, pinhead oats, which are basically found in Ireland more than in England. Correct me if I'm wrong here. He used to bring him there, and he showed it to his cook, an Ethiopian cook. And he used to tell him to soak it overnight before preparing it. And thank God, because he introduced me to pinhead oats, which I get from the markets in Portobello. and give it a try. So that's very good. The other thing that crossed my mind, my brother from Germany, as for Wasson, sends his best regards to everyone here and regrets that he couldn't join us. But he commissioned me to ask what has happened to the cross that he gave to the prayer room. Is it still there? Is it being used? Somebody with authority.
Yes, still here.
Good, excellent. And then he told me to share with you our dad's time at in Bath, and very close Bath, Monton Coombe School down in the valley. That's where he went. In order to keep the legacy of my dad with the school, we contributed two things. One, a trophy to be given to the best sportsman, athlete a year, the Asrat Akasa Prize for the best sportsman, and an Ethiopian cross inside the chapel, the school chapel. And the priest there told him that we share St. George's with Ethiopia, among other nations. And he said, what do you mean share with Ethiopia? He said, St. George is our patron saint, and so is he with Ethiopia. You shared it, no, Ethiopia shared it with you, and not the other way around, and he joked. The other thing was, my father liked gardening at the time he was young, and he used to tend the lawn and also some vegetables closer to the fence, I was told. When I was last there, I wasn't able to see it. The other thing is, what has happened to a room that they used as a chapel, where every Sunday they used to have even the Eucharist. Thank you. Is it still there? Is he talking about the room with the sort of conservatory, the room there?
Yes, still there. The greenhouse is no longer there.
It's not.
Conservative is still there, but the greenhouse is no longer there.
Very good. The other thing I wanted to share with you is some of the thoughts that I have. Say I come, forget about me, say a British man or anybody comes there to visit, he looks at all the good things that you have showed us, the photos and so on. What does he take with him? What can he buy to say proudly, I've been to, say, I was in Stratford upon Avon some months ago, Shakespeare's home, and I bought a number of souvenirs, proof that I've been there. So there is nothing there that he can buy. Have you ever thought about it?
We have got we've got now a mug, coffee cup, as well as Ethiopian grounded coffee.
Very good.
Can you see my? No? Oh yes.
Fantastic.
By Asfer Wasson Asarati.
Yes, there you are.
The book written by your brother.
Yes.
And we've got a copy, of course. I've already said that. All we have a shop now, Fairfield House shop. We sell books. All based on around Ethiopian history.
Can I suggest one thing?
Yeah.
Can we have a tie?
A tie?
Yeah, we can. We'll work on that.
That sounds
Yes. A tie, a cufflink.
We need to procure that, yes.
And design it.
We have got, look, a card, all based on around.
I tell you what, I designed my Ethiopian flag ties.
Oh, fantastic.
You can do it online forgot. I'll send the link. You can do everything. Take a picture of Fairfield House.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Gash Ezra.
Gash Ezra, how very nice to see you. Xavier Masgan. We last met in Addis.
Yes, we met at the airport.
Yes, yes.
I was just telling them that you are my schoolmate.
Yes, but you were much, much older.
Yes, much older.
We'll hear more from him in a minute.
Very nice to see you. Very nice to see you.
Okay.
Ethiopia really wants to cover this thing live stream. Participant.
Okay.
Index wants to live stream it. He's already in the attendees.
Yes, at Ethiopian Tribune. The other thing is, I just received, Pascal would know this better than I do. I just received a good news from my brother, which is Maryland has declared March Minilik month. Have you heard of it?
I'll show you that when I.
So
recording in progress.
That is more or less what I wanted to share with you. Every time I talk about this time of year, I become so emotional because it was there that I lost 3 of my uncles. That we heard the news. It was broken to my grandfather by none other than the emperor himself. That gives us everlasting link to the house. And I'm there whenever you want me to be there. Getting the Ethiopian community involved is something that interests me, that I have been sharing this with all the people there. And one thing is to create an Ethiopia Day where people come. What better day than Haile Selassie's birthday to converge there and celebrate it together.
Sounds
All right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It is big gathering, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
The whole community.
Yeah. What would have been Emperor Selassie's birthday last year? I can't remember what year. 130, that's right. 130. All community came along and celebrated really unexpected way.
In a much more upbeat manner, perhaps.
Yes. Superb.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much for letting me get out
Good.
in time. So that's really good. You've said really now we're going to go with music from Thomas Gill from Crowd Collective. He leads the band.
Oh,
He did it so well. So yeah, we're going to hear his music now. Thank you very much.
ሰላም ጤና ይስጥልኝ ክቡራትና ክቡራን ሁላችሁም በያላችሁበት እንደምን አላችሁ እንኳን ለ127ኛው የአድዋ ድል በዓል ሰላም አደረሳችሁ አደረሰን ተመስገን ዘለቀ ባላለሁ አመሰግናለሁ Arafano fano de kulao de grisa de kulao de grisa yarhau lebbi demo tanasa Fanno in the colao and the grisa yarhau lebbi demo tanasa lemiyalu jaka lemiyalu dur sinagagar yadral kamuziru gar fano fano arafano fano arafano fano arafano fano
Mulugeta, we can see you now nice and clearly on your camera is working fine now.
Now it's working. See, it's too late.
It's fantastic to see you anyway.
Very nice to see you all.
That was lovely music by Thomas Gen.
He did let data in, so he's coming.
That was cool. Yeah. So the next one, thank you, engineer. The next one is we have a wonderful lady, Dr. Angela Ravens Roberts. Well, what can I say? With so many knowledge, experience from many international organizations, from living in Ethiopia as well. Your good friend Ezra, also right next to me. Yeah, please, Dr. Angela, share with us what you're gonna say. A few words about Adwa from your point of view. Yeah, camera is yours, speaker is yours.
Well, can you see me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't quite see you yet.
Oh, yes. God.
Okay, am I there?
Oh, no, you're not.
Okay. Mute my start video. Okay.
That's it. Well,
There you are, yes.
እሺ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። ጤና ይስጥልኝ።
ሰላም
እንኳን ለትልቁ በዓል አደረሰን 127 ዓመት። Hello everybody at Fairfield House, Pauline, William, Gash Ezra, Salam, Professor Ezra. Anyway, well, first of all, I'll be brief because you have an excellent list of panelists who are going to go into the real nitty-gritty about Adwa and its meanings in the context of Ethiopian history. I just want to say a few words, first of all, about the significance of Adwa from an external perspective. And then also I want to end with saying something about Fairfield House, which I think has a lot of significance and which I congratulate everybody for keeping it going for so long, and obviously for a good history to come. From the external perspective, I think the best way to describe the impact and the significance of the battle, I would use shock and awe and shock and delight. Shock and awe meaning that in the time of the colonial period and the move of sort of imperialism into Africa. I mean, earlier I think there'd been the battle that was won, but the war that was lost when Shaka Zulu defeated the British, but unfortunately lost South Africa. But then along comes the Battle of Adwa, in which both the battle and the war was won. And I think the main shock for the Western world basically was actually acknowledging other people's histories and recognizing for the first time, forcing people to recognize Africa as very distinct and the beginning of a consciousness of, other empires, other states, and other communities who, are willing to fight for their independence and also have, their own strategies. And the whole kind of diplomatic history of Ethiopia at that time, coming out of what was then mythical, but then becoming more tangible, as all the cast of characters, emerged just before the war and then during the war in terms of how the various emperors in Ethiopia were state building and building the Ethiopian state and the Ethiopian nation. And the interest this was arousing outside of Ethiopia, and the diplomatic history that was going on, which has been written about extensively, but the recognition gradually that Africa wasn't just kind of over there and, you could just manipulate it and conquer it, but there were, very distinct processes going on, and recognizing, the agency of existing African state processes and the recognition. I mean, it was sort of, it's like a negative picture coming into forelight, people really beginning to take seriously as it were, the other side. So the recognition and the opening up of viewing other people's histories from their point of view, as opposed to viewing history, just from the point of view of, either the conqueror or the dominator. And so I think from an external point of view, this was the beginning also in terms of people recognizing also how we study events and the study of the Battle of Adwa itself from all the many perspectives. And again, you'll probably hear a lot more, from the perspective of Ethiopia following me, but also from the point of view that everybody has a story. So a battle, a war can be studied, and you can learn many, many things from it, in each period. So it's the longer there are documents and facts, and in Ethiopia we're very lucky because there is both oral history and there's written history. There's written history from the Ethiopian manuscripts, Ethiopian documents, Ethiopian letters, as well as all the different letters in all the different languages of all the other actors who were also in Ethiopia. Because again, people don't realize that all that many years ago, Ethiopia was actually still quite cosmopolitan. It was international. It wasn't a kind of, this mythic kingdom in the cloud somewhere. There were a lot of things going on, and the gradual recognition that Ethiopia was sort of existing and had delegations overseas. People were going there, priests were, people from Ethiopia there's a long history of people from Ethiopia going to Europe and the Middle East. And it wasn't just everybody coming to Ethiopia or to Africa, as the popular depiction has always been, that sort of somehow Africa is discovered. You never hear about Africa discovering the outside as well as itself. So in terms of academic research as well, the whole victory, kind of opened up ways of looking at history, ways of examining history, ways of examining who was fighting, how were they brought in. I think Ezra will talk a little bit about that, but that everybody has a story in that story, and it's not just diplomats, it's not just kings and queens, it's ordinary soldiers or fighters, people who are carrying things, and every perspective adds to that story. And Adwa and the reign of Menelik to this day is being interrogated from many different angles and from many different languages, even within Ethiopia. So it's a sort of evolving historical opening up of eyes to look at different processes. And it's also a way of, one of the interesting things has been examining, how external empires meet internal state building processes. And then, when the two meet, what are the implications? How has one affected the other? How has one influenced the other? How has one manipulated the other? So as a learning process, I think Adwa began this process for anthropologists, for historians, to really look at local history in the African context, very, very deeply. And I think this was a first opening. A second opening, which I would say also shock and delight, was the way in which the battle kind of put Ethiopia very firmly on the map to the outside diaspora, the oppressed peoples in the Caribbean, in America and in the rest of Africa who, they heard about Ethiopia in the Bible, they heard Ethiopia here and there, and then suddenly there's a reality. I mean, what they're hearing about, actually, it's a real place, and it's a real people, and it's a real struggle, and that was the second kind of opening up for those communities who then began to study more deeply, where this place was, and then began to reclaiming out of the Bible, Africa in Christianity, or Christianity in Africa. The way in which, if the real history of Christianity having very much deeper connections with Africa through Ethiopia than what was being given to them in the context of the very first introduction of Christianity, as if it came from Western missionaries. So the whole evolution, as Benji was saying, of the Ethiopian churches, of the churches that call themselves Ethiopian, meaning African, meaning making all these links together, which then gradually, developed into independent churches, which then gradually went to form the Pan-African movement. So all of these things coming together as a result of the opening up of that shock when the Ethiopians defeated the Italians, and suddenly the whole paradigm was turned upside down, and the racist sort of imagery of Africa was kind of challenged, and you'll hear a lot more about this from our next historians. So in terms of linking this also with Fairfield House was developed in the second round, when unfortunately the Italians wanted to play revenge for Adwa and reinvaded Ethiopia, and again resulting in Ethiopians having to come together again to fight for their kind of second liberation. But the importance of Fairfield House, I think, for Black history, but also for putting Black history within Britain, I think is going to be very important, and also for bringing together the international context of Haile Selassie's fight against fascism. And this to me is very contemporary, because fascism is still around. It emerges in many places under many disguises. And so having a center somewhere where we can come to discuss the resistance against fascism and the long history of everybody coming together to fight fascism, and having Fairfield House is also a beacon of internationalism and resistance against racism and fascism, I think is very important and should continue, as well as being a center for the study of Ethiopian history and the study then from then on of African and Black history in Britain. And I'm hoping that, perhaps the Ethiopian embassy can be more supportive, the Ethiopian government can be more supportive, because it's a good link. I know there is an initiative for having the Global Black Heritage Foundation, which I think will be developed in Addis Ababa. But in a sense, Fairfield House is a component of that global Black history, and having a beacon in Britain for those who live here and for those who can't, make an annual trip to Ethiopia, but to learn more about Ethiopia, and then through that to learn more about Africa and their own history. I think it would be a very important contribution. So I congratulate everybody for keeping the flag flying, and hope that we can all keep working together to support Fairfield House. Thank you very much.
Said Angela, thank you very much.
Really, words of encouragement. That's fantastic to hear you. All the good things you said. I think we all sat there, nodding our heads, agreeing with you. And so that's really fantastic.
And the only thing I'd add on the Fairfield House side is just how important the Emperor's original gift for the elderly local people of Bath, and how that has been kept going for the last 30 years by the Bath Ethnic Minority Senior Citizens Association, managed by Pauline over there, because that's the heartbeat of community life, the Emperor's original purpose, and everything grows from there, within the legacy who Haile Selassie is. But it's that original, cherished, warm gift to the citizens of Bath, and a thank you that we keep alive in the house today.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Dr. Angela. It was really very good. So
we have a
now
Q&A,
we have,
so is it possible to notify them?
I'm going to introduce our good... I'm going to move my laptop to this. It's okay. You can be where you are. It's okay where you are. I would like to introduce you our good friend, icon. We all look up to him, a man of wisdom, studied theology in the olden days, as Ethiopians used to do in Egypt. 6 years in Alexandria. In Cairo, I beg your pardon. Kahira, studied theology, can speak Arabic, can speak Ge'ez, can speak Arabic, Amharic, of course, English. I don't know what else, but many more. That's all, okay, accounted for. And thank you very much. So Israel is going to share with us the strategy they used in those days. Well, you'll tell us more about Adwa, the soldiers. So he's got amazing old books, all sorts. So let's hear from him.
It's so wonderful sight to see both my friends, Mulgeta and Angela. We were both in the same school at one time. My interest in Adwa actually started 30 years ago when I made a speech about Adwa at the University of London, when the subject was a very hot one at the time, because TPLF has just came in and Adwa was in danger of being forgotten. And we had to rally around and make an effort to defend the history and the person of Menelik, who at the time was not popular. So to speak. But since then, I have been following whatever is being written about Adwa. And some time ago, I read the autobiography of the Jazmach Taklahariat Taklamariam. One sentence caught my attention. It said, the Battle of Adwa is mainly due to women and donkeys. And before that, I haven't seen anywhere this sort of thinking. Everybody talked about the patriots and the Queen and her entourage. But gradually, women have become acknowledged by many writers, lately by even the younger ones, like the author Almayu Balagai. And today I saw on television from a broadcast from Addis Ababa, donkeys were driven across Moscow Square as heroes of the battle. And for that, I've got a poem. What donkeys thought I was themselves, written by Yared Gebre Mikael and printed in 1948 Ethiopian calendar. And the title simply says, Ahya, ha, 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 ha. እኔ አህያ በሆን የተፈጥሮ ስሜ መሳደቢያ ሆንኩኝ እስከ ዓለም ፍጻሜ እንኳን እኔ አህያ ሸክም መጫኛቸው ባሪያ ስላሴ የተፈጠረን ሰው አህያ ይሉታል እኔን ጎዳ ብለው እንደ ዛሬ ሁሉ መኪና ሳይበዛ በሬ ትከሻ ነው ሀገር የተገዛ እኔ አይደለሁም ወይ የወታደር ሀብቱ በእኔ ተጭኖ ነው ዳገት ቁልቁለቱ ተዘመቻ አይደለኝ ስንቅ ተሸክሜ ከነጋሪ አይደለኝ ሸቀጥ ተሸክሜ ዱለዱስ ወር ነው ያለቀው ይልኝ እንስሳም እንደሰው ተዋርዶ ቢሰራ አህያ ይባላል እንደው በተለምዶ ሰውም እንዲያብሳል በተሰራ አህያ ለፍቼ ደክሜ ባቀናው ንብረት ዋጋዬ ከሆነ በዱላ መነረት እኔም መሞቴ ነው ዓለምን ሞዮለት ህይወቴ ካለፈ እንዲሁ ባጉል እኔ ከሞት ወዲያ ሰርዶ አይበቅል I have promised to translate this poem and give it. What is that? I promised to translate this poem and give it to Imperial Radio at Fairfield House, and they will read it to you sometime in the future. Now I'm going to the next part of what I prepared, and that is a small piece from a tiny booklet written at the time of Menelik and collected by a major ED and published by Cambridge University Press and later reprinted by Africa Sun Publishing. And it's called Yetor Qud. So that will tell us how the army was mobilized. ዘመቻ ሲፈለግ አዋጅ ይነገራል እንደዚህ ያለ ስፍራ በገሌ ቀን በገሌ ወር ክተት ተብሎ ይነገራል ዘመቻው ንጉስ ለንጉስ እንደሆነ ህዝቡ ሁሉ ነው የሚታዘዝ እንትን ባለሽ ነው መጻፊው ግን በስሙ ጠርቶታል ተብሎ ነው ከታዘበው ስፍራ ድረስ ይከታል ከዚያ ስፍራ የጦሩን እቅድ ወደፊታቸው የሚያደርገውን ሁሉ ይመክራሉ ማለት ነው በእንደዚህ ያለ ስፍራ ገሌ በእንደዚህ ያለ ስፍራ ይዋል ገሌ ባስፈልገው ነገር ምልክቱ እንደዚህ ያለ ይሁን ተብሎ ይታቀዳል ከዚህ ወዲህ 2-3 ቀን ርቀው የሚቀድሙ ፊታውራሪዎች አንዱ ፊታውራሪ አበጋዝ ይሾማል ለጦርነት ጊዜ ነው እንጂ ይህ ሹመት አይረጋም። የቄ ፊት አውራሪ ይባላል። ለጊዜው የተሾመ ማለት ነው። ለጦርነት ጊዜ ነው እንጂ ይህ ሹመት አይረጋም ማለት እገሌ ፊት አውራሪ ከነገሌ ፈርታ አውራሪዎች ለጦርነት እቅድ ያውቃል ተብሎ ይመረጣል። የተቆረጡ ፊት አውራሪዎች በእርሱ ግድ ይታዘዛሉ። ቀጥሎ ፈረሰኛ በአንድ ሹም 2 እና 3 ቀን ርቀት ይጓዛል። እነ ቀኛዝማች ግራዝማች ናቸው። ለነዚህም ፊት አውራሪ አላቸው። በቀኝ ግራዝማችና ፊት አውራሪ፣ በግራ ግራዝማችና ፊት አውራሪ። ከዚህ ቀጥሎ ገዳም ጦር ይለጥቃል። ቀጥሎ ንጉሱን እንዳሉ ንጉስ አለዚያ ዋና በጋዝ የጦር ጠቅላይ ይለጥቃል። ቀጥሎ ዕቃ ቤት ይከተላል። ቀጥሎ ደጀን ይለጥቃል። የደጀን ስራው የሞተ ለመቅበር፣ የደከመውን ለማንሳት፣ የተነሳውን ለመደገፍ ነው። የተሳነውን ለመደገፍ ነው። በቀኝ በግራም ቀኛዝማቾች ግራዝማቾች አሉበት። በሩቅ ደግሞ ግራና ቀኝ ታዞም ቢሆን ባይታዘዝ ፋኖ የሚባል ጦር ፈረሰኛና እግረኛ ያገኘውን አውዳሚ እንዳንበጣ ርቆ ይወራል። እዝም አይሰማ፣ ሴራ አይል፣ ዲና አይል፣ አገር አጥፊ ነው። የዚህ ሁሉ ክፍል ጦር በእግሩ ያሉትን ሹማምንት አበጋዝ ያለው ደግሞም መልእክተ ንጉስ ከዋናው ጦር ጠቅላይ እዝ እየመጣበት ወራሪም ወደፊትና ወደ ኋላው ነው የወረረ። ይህ ሁሉ ክፍለ ጦር በተሰማራበት ባዝኖ እንዳይቀር በፊት የቀደመው አበጋዝ ፊት አውራሪው የቤተ መንግስትን ድንኳን አስቀድሞ ይከተላል። ሰራዊት ድንኳኑን እያየ ይሰፍራል። ደግሞ ነጋሪትና የመለከት ድምፅ እየሰማ ይከተላል። ድምጡ በሩቁ ይሰማል። ነጋሪት የሚያስጭን መለከትና እምቢልታ የሚያስነፋ ራስና ደጃዝማች የሆነ ብቻ ነው እንጂ ሌላ ሹም ሁሉ አይገባውም። በእነዚህ እግር ይለጥቃል እንጂ አንዱ ራስ ወይም አንዱ አበጋዝ ከጦርነት የተነሳ የላላ እንደሆነ ከገዳም ጦር ወይም እዝ ጠባቂ ጦር ወይም እገሌ ጦር እገሌን ልገስግሰ እርዳ ተብሎ ይታዘዝለታል ይላል። አሁን here the most important thing is it helps for Ethiopia has been a literal country. There were scribes and chroniclers who kept some record and artists who depicted the time of their impression on murals of the churches. And we are actually very rich in this subject, and a lot depended at the time for the memory of the battle to be transferred to us through the chroniclers of Minilik, especially ጸሐፊ ትእዛዝ ገብረ ሥላሴ ዳግማዊ ምኒልክን የተከተለው followed His Majesty the Emperor, and it's due to him that we have got a very good description of the time of the war. And for all of you who know Amharic and read Amharic, I recommend that you read ታሪከ ዘመን ዘዳግማዊ ምኒልክ ንጉሠ ነገሥት ዘኢትዮጵያ ከጸሐፊ ትእዛዝ ገብረ ሥላሴ። Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's all. Thank you for having me. Now. Sorry. Yes, I would like to mention. I'd like to mention to you that we are building a small library here, and at the moment we have got a good collection, and a collection from Dr. Pankhurst, which we are at the moment cataloging, and we have been able to go and train the British Library, and we'll be going in the future to some other libraries to study, learn some sort of skill as curators of the library, and probably in the future it will be online and people can borrow or order books and keep the knowledge up to date. And at the moment, we've got a good collection, and it will be even more in the near future. You can come and visit the library, and as Benji says, a good day is a Sunday, and I hope we see you then. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a reminder to everyone, we will have a Q&A. So prepare yourself in about 15 minutes. Thank you.
Yes, we'll have a Q&A session. If you have any question or comments, whatever, just send them on the side. We'll go through that shortly. Thank you, Index, for that. Good reminder.
Good to see you, Index.
You're looking fabulous.
Thank you. Greetings to you all. Looking fine. I see Pauline sitting behind. You should give her the mic.
So እናመሰግናለን በጣም በጣም ቆንጆ ነው። ቆንጆ ላይብረሪው ስለሁሉም ነገር ጥያቄዎች ካላችሁ ጠይቃችሁ ላይብረሪው ስለ ላይብረሪው ስለተሰራ ሳለ ስራ ብዙ ማለት ይቻላል፣ ግን ጊዜ የለንም። ባጭሩ ግን ሰምታችሁታል። So that's fantastic. So we move on. The next one we have Biniam to read a poem for us. Biniam, are you reading the Lord's guy? Bamarinya Allen. Biniam, look at him. He looks so great.
Everyone
dressed up so well for the occasion. Biniam.
All right. Good evening, everybody. So can you guys hear me?
Just introduce you very quickly, Biniam. Biniam is a wonderful friend of ours, also part of the Ethiopian community, lives in Bristol, just completed his degree, electrical electronic engineering from University of Bristol, working now. In fact, he's teaching now. And Biniam, amazing.
Thanks so much for the introduction, Fish. So I've got two poems, so that I'll try to read the first one, and then the second one would be Laureate Tseggai Gebremeድህን's poem. So the first one is the former Manchester University Chancellor Lemon Sisay's poem. So the title of the poem is The Battle of Adwa. The Battle of Adwa, 1896. Preceding Adwa. Remember this, the Europeans carved up our homes with blood trust, not because we were the third world, but because we were the first, because we had gold in our hearts, because we had diamond for eyes, because oil runs through our veins and the blessing hung in our skies. Remember that when they scrambled in a conference in Berlin and callously carved Africa, searing each African's skin, it was not just because of their greed or need to sow seeds saturated with sorrow, but because through Africa's greatness, they envisioned their own great tomorrow. The beginning. Baratieri, the Italian general, had ice instead of ice, a tongue of 5 laser whips. Rasalula was deafened by the whisper of lies that seeped from his lips. Through Alula's agents who could read the tone of Ethiopian wind, they whisper, "We will catch the Italian advance before the advance begins." And with anger, that of lions and the swiftness of eagle's wing, Alula rose magnificent and rode to the foot of Milinik the king. With all their 5 generals, Milinik rolled 5 armies and damned attacks. It will take one strong Ethiopia to break their stiffened backs. Meantime, with pomp and primitive greed, the Italians embarked on their plan. They left for Adwa from Intisco with night shine, a shroud for each man. Unbeknown, every step was recorded by Alula's silent, speedy spy who traced the battalion's movement through the reflections they left in the sky. The Italians noting the Ethiopian dawn as a clock for a surprise attack. He has no knowledge the warriors were waiting and would give them a surprise back. With all their 5 generals, Rasalula whispered their armies and planned attack. It will take one strong Ethiopia to break their brittle backs. The war. The Ethiopians advanced from below, a hero sacrifice for a country's love. So fast as they fell and blood spilled for another flank to rain from above, and so unveiled complex maneuvers of complex maneuvers of hope and honor for history, whose aim was the breaking of evil and the waking of victory, the Ethiopians from all provinces gathered with truthless protection, descended around Adwa with justice and honor and unity as their weapon. The cracking, the snapping of rattling awoke the morning sun from rigid Italian poured fire. The Battle of Adwa began with all their 5 generals Ras Mangasha fought with their armies and their attacks. It would take one strong Ethiopia to break their stiffened backs. The victory. It seems the more Ethiopians were killed, then twice as many returned. The more they tried to drench their spirits, the more the spirits burned. It seemed as if amongst the red mist, each man that fell wounded rose again. Each breath of air rejuvenated his lungs. Each drop of blood seeped back to his vein. It seemed that the Ethiopians rose from the riverbeds, came from the shadows of mountainside, with eyes of stone and dread, and Barateri's generals sensing the beginning of the end, succumbed to the deafening whisper, surrender, surrender, surrender. Remember this. It was not one of Ethiopia, but Ethiopia was as one. It was not part of the sum that won, but part of everyone. It was not the heart on its own, but its veins that pumped on. It was not just the warriors, but where they all from. Remember this, how the story washed across the continent and flooded with the history of Adwa in a whispered tidal wave from Kenya to Senegal, from Morocco to the Gambia. The liberation began in 1896 and ended in South Africa. So that's my first poem, which is in English, and my second poem is...
Really fantastic. You have the second one ready?
Yes, my second one is by Laureate Tseggaye ገብረመድህን. So the title, it's in the Amharic poem. So
yeah, very good.
The title of the poem is Wa Adwa.
Wa Adwa.
Wa Adwa ሩቋ ያለት ምሰሶ የአድማስ ጥጓ ሰማይ ጠቀስ ጭጋግ ዳሷ አድዋ ባንቺ ብቻ ህልውና በትዝታሽ ብጸና በመስዋዕትሽ ክንድሽ ዜና አበው ታደሙ እንደገና ዋ አድዋ የዘር አጽሟ ርስቷ የደም ትቢያዋ መቀነቷ በሞት ከባርነት ስርየት በደም ነጻነት ስለት አበው የተሰዉብሽ ዕለት አድዋ የክሩ ትውልድ ቅርሷ የኢትዮጵያዊነት ምስክሯ አድዋ የክሩ ደም ባንቺ ጽዋ ታድማ በመዘንበሏ አንጽንምሽ በትንስፋዬ ነፋስ ደምሽ በነጻነት ዋስ ሲቀሰቀስ ትንሳኤዋ ተግስር ትርቢያዋ ብር ትርጽር ጥሪዋ ድውልም ስልጋሻዋ ሲያስገመግም ዳኛው መድፏ ያባ መቻል ያባ ዳኛው ያባ በለው ሲለው ዋ አድዋ ያንቺን ጽዋ ያንቺን አይጣል ማስቻል አለው አባ መቻል በዳኛው ልብ አባ መላ በገበየው ባባ ጎራ ባባ ነፍሶ ባባ ቃኛው በለው ዋ አድዋ የትናንትናዋ የባንቺ ህልውና በትዝታሽ ብጸና በመስዋዕትሽ ክንድሽ ዜና በነጻነት ቅርስሽ ዜና አበው ተነሱ እንደገና። Thank you so much.
Hello.
Truly amazing. That was wonderful. Really, really great. So proud of you, Binyam.
Bravo.
That's engineer scale. Yes, now it's really wonderful. It's your turn now. Could you please introduce?
Thank you.
Professor.
Sorry, Mr. Mamo, I tried to call him. He's not answering amazingly.
Mamo Muche is not answering?
No, he's in Ethiopia, you know that.
Is he?
Yeah. But in any event, I know a few of you from last year's event. And my name is Ezekiel Skender, or Ezekiel Skender. I'm from the great state of Ohio. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm an engineer by profession. And I'm in love with Ethiopia after my wife. And Ethiopia is my hobby. I'm going to show you a few slides and then play one song, and I'll yield after that. I'm going to share my screen, Engineer Prasad, you let me, I think.
Do you want that? Yeah, Binyam, can you give me?
Can I share my screen, please? I'll give you the hostship back.
Yeah, I think you are now the host, so you can share.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Let me go here. Okay, the first slide I'm going to show you is earlier my friend Luis Mulgeta mentioned about this proclamation, and I'm going to take a few minutes and read it. This is in Montgomery County in Maryland. The proclamation says, whereas March 1, 2023 is the 125th anniversary of the victory of the Battle of Adwa, and whereas beginning in September 1895, Emperor Menelik II and Emperor Stay II of Ethiopia laid a force of 100,000 against an Italian army that had captured and occupied territory in northern Ethiopia. And whereas on February 29, 1896, Italian forces under General Oreste Baratieri advanced on the Ethiopian army and were soundly defeated on March 1, 1896 in the Battle of Adwa. And whereas the Battle of Adwa led to the unification of Ethiopia and marked a landmark defeat for Western forces and is seen as a rallying point for Africa while keeping Ethiopia free from colonization. And whereas the victory of the Battle of Adwa is celebrated each year as an inspiration for African patriotism, and whereas residents of Ethiopian descent are the second largest group of African immigrants in Montgomery County, and now therefore do I, Mark Eric, hereby proclaim March 2023 as Adwa Victory Month in Montgomery County. I urge everyone to appreciate the historic nature of the event and recognize the contributions of residents of Ethiopian descent. Signed this first day of March in the year 2023, Mark Elrich, County Executive. It says in Montgomery County. The second one I'm going to show is one of our participants. She said how religion is important in Ethiopia and in other places. I want to show you one. Okay, that's this one. This one. Okay, I mean, I'm gonna move it a little bit actually. So let's see if I can scroll down here. Can you see this?
We can, yeah.
Okay. What this says is which nationality, let me move this. Yeah, this is what's blocking me here. Let me zoom in. Okay, that's better. Which nationalities consider religion most important? This is based on a 2015 survey. Ethiopia, 98%. Then it goes down, Senegal, Indonesia, Uganda, Pakistan, and just out of curiosity, what are we doing in the United States? About 53%. It's a religious country compared to Europe. Goes to Argentina, Italy, the seat of the Roman Catholic Church, 26, and United Kingdom is 21st. So religion, no matter what your religion is in Ethiopia, is an extremely important thing. And the next one I'm going to show you is, as you know, we celebrated Adwa in Ethiopia today, and it was a disaster. It was the worst Adwa celebration. The government that was in charge of taking care of the people, they were actually beating and using tear gases. The St. George Cathedral, the Tabot, the replica of the Ark of the Covenant, Menelik took to battle the Italians. They literally desecrated it by shooting tear gases. And showing this picture of Emperor Menelik and Emperor Stay II would put an Ethiopian in jail in Addis Ababa now, the seat of the African Union. And to show my opposition to the regime in Ethiopia, I want to show you this leader of not just Ethiopia, but the whole of Africa. Emperor Menelik II and Emperor Style. They replaced basically the government. They had a committee to coordinate this Adwa celebration. They replaced their picture with this shield and spear. And it's sad. And my final presentation to you will be just to pick up the spirit as Teddy Afro's song, Tukur Sau. He wrote that and played that in honor of the Emperor Menelik. And it's also illegal to play this song in Ethiopia today. And I'm going to play it for you. Can you hear it? This was in Moscow Square a few years ago.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Menelik.
Okay, I think that's good flavor, and I will stop sharing. If you want to finish this, you can watch it on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this. Yield back the balance of my time to this honorable gentleman in the UK.
Thank you very much, my friend, for that. If we can hand over quickly to Binyam again, the host.
Okay, I will.
That was wonderful. Thank you for we'll keep in touch.
There's only one Binyam, so.
Yes, it's
Okay. Like a host, I have surrendered the hostship.
That's fantastic. So
Thank you.
So Professor Mamaguchi, something is happening, he's struggling. He was really hoping to come. He said it, I think we spoke 2-3 times. If he does come, we'll let him in. But meanwhile, while we're waiting for him, I was told we're going to try for Dr. Takela in a little while, not now. Maybe we'll keep it as late as possible because he's in Japan. Japan is 10 hours ahead of us. So we're going to give him more time. If he's ready, we'll bring him in later on, I guess. But while we're waiting for him, I was told the artist, the silent Hailu, I'm a big fan of him. The silent Hailu, I was told he's there somewhere. I'm hoping he's there. The silent Hailu, Allah ይሆን ለመጠየቅ ብሩሃን አለ ይሆን
ደሳይ በሚል
የለም በሌላ ስም ገብቶ ይሆን
Galaxy S21 የሚል አለ እሱ ከሆነ
በምን እናውቅ ይሆን ብሩሃን በምን እናውቃለን እሱ መኖር አለመኖሩን can you let Burhan speak?
She needs to unmute herself.
Okay, can you just unmute አርጊራሽን ብርሃን ነሽ መሰለኝ አሁን
ልክ ነሽ ብርሃን ነች unmute yourself ብርሃን
ሁለት ስልኮች አሉ Galaxy S21 እና Samsung SM የሚል አለ እንግዲህ እዛው ሊሆን ይችላል
ካሜራ እንዴት አድርገን እናገኘው እንችላለን ሃይ ደሳለኝ ኃይሉ አለ ሲባል ሰምቻለሁ በምን እናገኘው
ብርሃን እኮ የተናገረች ነበር ለምን give her a second አሁን ሄድሴት እያደረገች ነው
I see
okay ሰማለው
thank god yes we can hear you now ይሰማልሽ
እሺ በጣም አስቸጋሪ ነው ዙሙ ለመግባት ብዙ ሰው አልገባም የቴክስት ያረጉልኝ ነበር ለኔም በቢኒያም ጋር ቴክስት አድርጌ ነው ወደዚህ እንደዚህ ለመምጣት ይቻልኩት ስለዚህ I don't know ቢብሎት ከሆነ አላቅም ደውዬ ልጠይቅና መልሼ ነግራችኋለሁኝ በስልክ ኮንታክት አድርጌ
እሺ ኦኬ
እና በማን ስም እንደገባ ምናልባት ካላወቃችሁት
ይልሻለሁ አለሽ ያው
እሺ አመሰግናለሁ
so okay while እሱ የጠበቅን ያለ ሙዚቃ የሚጫወቱ ሰዎችም አሉ ተብለናል በጣም የዝናሽ ችግር ገጥሟታል ሀዘንም ነገር አለ መሰለኝ እግዚአብሔር ያጽናት እሱ እንደዛ ያለ ዘውዲቱ ወይም ደግሞ የምክር ዘውዲቱ አለሽ ይሆን
ዜድ የሚል አለ ዜድ አለ
አርቲስት ዘውዲቱ
ዜድ እና ዘለቀ ነው ያለው በዚህ
የዝና አለች እና ዜድንም ወደ ፓናሊስት አምጥቻለሁ in case if she said
ሷትሆን ዘውዲቱ ዜድ እርግጠኛ አይደለሁም። ዘውዲቱ ሌላም ደግሞ የምክር ይባል አለ ተብሎ ነግሮኛል። ብርሃን አሉ የሉም ይሆናል እንግዲህ ወይ ማወቅ አልቻለም። አንሚዩት ካልተደረጉ ራሳችሁን አንሚዩት ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ?
Unless they are a participant, minimum access የላቸው። እና the only thing is ወይ ስልክ ቁጥር ስጧቸውና ቴክስት እንዲያደርጉ ማድረግ ነው።
Wait a minute, someone is there, I can hear. Yes, Z.
Yeah.
I think እያስተካከለ ነው, so they kind of arranging it.
ጤና ይስጥልኝ።
ሰላም ነሽ ወይ? ታዲያስ
እንደምን አመሻችሁ? ተነስቻለሁ፣ እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን።
እዚህ በፊትም እንደዚህ
ሰላም መጣሽ እህታችን።
እንኳን ደህና ቆያችሁ። እንኳን ደህና ቆያችሁን። እንኳን ያመት ሰው አለን። ጤና ይስጥልኝ ብያለሁ።
ሰላም
እንደምን ናችሁ?
እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን። እንኳን አደረሰሽ ለ127ኛው የአድዋ በዓል።
አሜን እንኳን አብሮ አደረሰን። እንግዲህ
ያንቺ ነው እንግዲህ አሁን ሰዓቱ።
እሺ አምና አንድ ዘፈን የሚሰራ አለ ብዬ በነፃ አቅርቤ ነበር ለድርጅቱ ለቤት መስሪያ እንዲሆን፣ ግን እስካሁን እንግዲህ እድል አግኝተን ተገናኝተን ስራው በደንብ አልተሰራምና ለገበያ አልዋለም ስቲል። ግን ዛሬ ያው ኮፒራይት በማስጠንቀቂያም ቢሆን ዛሬ ልዘፍነው ዝግጁ ነኝ። እንግዲህ የኮፒራይቱን ነገር ለእናንተ ትቸዋለሁ። ለምን ያልወጣ አልበም ነው።
እሺ
ነው ወይስ ሌላ ነገር ላንክ?
ሌላ ነገር ይሻላል። ኃላፊነት መውሰድ ይከብዳል ለኔ።
እሺ ያው ስለ ጃንሆይና ስለ አገራችን ቅርሶች ላሉት ነገሮች የሚሰራ ስራ ነው። ለወደፊት ወይ እንግዲህ ተገናኝተን ለእናንተ ማስረከብ ይኖርብኛል እሱን ስራ።
እናመሰግናለን። በጣም ጥሩ።
እሺ ከዛ ውጭ እንግዲህ ለልጆች ትምህርት ቤት በጣም ጥሩ ነገር ነው የሚደረገው ያለው። በጊዜ አቶ ሙሉጌታ የተናገሩትንም ሰምቻለሁ። ግን አቶ ሙሉጌታ በለንደን ካሉ አንዳንድ ትምህርት ቤቶች ፕሮግራም ሲደረግ የሚገኙበትን መንገድና ለልጆቻችን አራያ እንትን እንዲሆኑ ጥንካሬ እንዲሆኑና በየትምህርት ቤቱ የብላክ ሂስትሪ መንዝ በሚደረግበት ጊዜ ቢጋበዙልን ፍቃደኛ ናቸው ወይ? ይሄን እንድትጠይቁልን አስተላልፋለሁ። ከሰሙንም ለምን ብዙ እንዲህ አይነት ነገሮችን አዘጋጃለሁ እኔ ልጆችን የኢትዮጵያን ልጆች ያበሻ ልጆች በየትምህርት ቤቱ በሐመር ስሚዝን ፉላምቦሮ ብዙ አስተዋጽኦ አረጋለሁ። የአገሬን ነገር እስክስታ አስተምራለሁ፣ ሀሁ ፊደል አስተምራለሁ። ያን በማደርግበት ጊዜ ግን አንድ ቀን እንግዲህ ከናንተ ውስጥ በደንብ ስለ ሂስትሪ በደንብ ስለ ሀገራችን አገላለጽ የሚያደርግ ሰው ስለምፈልግ ወደፊት እስቲ እግዚአብሔር ፈቅዶት በአንድ ምክንያት ተገናኝተን እንድንነጋገር ፈልጋለሁ፣ እንድትረዱኝ ፈልጋለሁ። አሁን ወደ ሞቅ ወዳለው ነገር እንሂድ።
መልስ ጥያቄና መልስ ላይ ስላለ የዛን ጊዜ መልስ የሚሰጡ ሰዎች ይኖራሉ። ጋሽ ዝራሚ መልስ ይሰጣል። ልጅ ሙሉ
አመስግናለሁ።
እስኪ አይልም። እሺ መልስ ይሰጣል። እሺ ናና እንደምን አንተ አለህ ብዬ ጠልቼ ሁሉን አንተ አለህ ብዬ ጠልቼ ሁሉን እንዴት ተማዳሪ ከርታታ ልሁን ከአገሩ የወጣ አገሩ እስኪመለስ ከአገሩ የወጣ አገሩ እስኪመለስ ቢጭኑት መኪና ቢጋልቡት ፈረስ ቢጭኑት መኪና ቢጋልቡት ፈረስ ቢጭኑት መኪና ቢጋልቡት ፈረስ እልካለሁ ሁሌ ምኒልክ ፀሐይቱ ታውቃለች ዝላይ ያች ንግስት ፀሐይቱ ታውቃለች ዝላይ ከአንበሳው ላይ ወጣች ከምኒልክ
ከምኒልክ ላይ የፀሐይቱ ነይ ውጪ ከጓዳ የፀሐይቱ ነይ ውጪ ከጓዳ ጀግና የወለደ አያጣም እንግዳ ጀግና የወለደ አያጣም እንግዳ አያጣም እንግዳ አያጣም እንግዳ አረ እንደምን አለሽ እንደምን አለሽ አረ እንደምን አለሽ አረ እንደምን አለሽ እንደው ዝም ይሻላል እንደው ዝም ይሻላል ሲነካኩኝማ ያነ ጀግንነቴ ወኔ ይመጣል ያነ ጀግንነቴ ወኔ ይመጣል 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 እንግዲህ ለዛሬ ያው ስለ አድዋ ብዙ ቢዘፈን አያልቅም ሰማለሁ አይደለ
$100 ለጥብስል እንቢያለኝ
አይ ያው ይግባ በዛው ያምናውም ስላለ እዛ ላይ ይግባልኝ
ተንበርልሻል
ለዶኔቱ ይግባልኝ ቤቱ ይሰራልኝ
አሜን አሜን በጣም እናመሰግናለን
እኔም አመስግኛለሁ
እናመሰግናለን እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልን በጣም እናመሰግናለን
እሺ እኔም እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልኝ
በጣም እናመሰግናለን አይ እሺ እናመሰግናለን I saw a hand raised
fish
Dr. Cressida yes Vinia
so there is Desalegn I think so I'm able to let him
Desalegn is there
I think so yeah
oh fantastic Desalegn Hailu artist Desalegn Hailu alle ይሆን ሲባል ስለሰማን
Grace I think you can ask them to raise their hand and we should be able to see who they are. That's the code. Desalegn, please raise your hand.
Desalegn, Biniam, can you let him in?
No, Desalegn I already requested to join a panelist. I think he needs to accept it.
Okay, Desalegn, accept መቀበል ከቻልክ ግብዣው ሰጥቷል መቀበል ከቻልክ ከዛ መናገር ትችላለህ ማለት ነው.
Also Grace, because I think Grace was
yeah. Hello
hello
እንዴት ናችሁ ወንድሜ
ደሳለኝ ነህ
ነው እኔ ታዴ ነኝ ደሳለኝ አይደለም ታዴ ባርች
አዎ ታዴ ባርች ያለፈው ጊዜ ቤታችንን ያደመቀ ነው ዌልካም በሉልን ካሜራን ብታሳይ
ካሜራዬን እሺ
ይመቻ አባቱ ታንኪ ስለመጣ እናመሰግናለን
እሺ እኔም በጣም ነው ማመሰግን ስላገኘዋችሁ ያው በሰፊው እሁድ እንገናኛለን እንመጣለን ግን ካሜራ ነው ወርኪንግ
I think Tade he's using two devices so you can use Tade Barich ሚለውን ተጠቀም ግሬስ በሚለውን አጥፍተ ማለት ነው
በባለቤቴ እንትን ነው የገባውትና
Tade Barich ሚልም ይታየኛልና እሱን ብትጠቀም ቪዲዮንም አውዲዮንም ኦን ማድረግ ትችላለህ
I think ቢኒያም
ሚውት አረከው ቢኒዬ ትንሽ እንዴት ነው አርጩሜ ትንሽ ብዙ ሰዎችን አስቀይሟል ዛሬ
አይው መጥቻለሁ እንግዲህ ከታየው
አይጎ
መጣል
አይው እንግዲህ ያድዋ ያለን ነው እንግዲህ ሰው ባለው ያገራችን ለመምሰል ሞክረናል ያገራችን ባህል ለማስተዋወቅ ያጋጣሚ
ዝለቅልን ብለናል ዝለቅ
አሜን እንመጣለን እሁድ በደንብ በሰፊው እንጫወታለን
እናመሰግናለን እሺ ሌላም አርቲስት እንዳንተ ደሳለኝ ኃይሉ ተብሎም ተናግሯል
ጋላክሲ ባሳለ ግን
እሱ ነው አዲዮ ጆይናል አደረገም I think እንትና ይመስለኛል ደሳለኝ ነው ተብያለሁ እሱ ጋላክሲው ማለት ነው
so that's it everything is it
እሺ ታዴ መጫወት ከቻለ ብታጫውቱት ጥሩ ነው
እንዴ ጫወት ታዴ ከቻለ
አይማ ለውዱ አይቻልም በለውዱ ብዘጋጅ ይችላል
እንደው ትንሽ ሞቅ አርገው እንደው ቀረርቱ ያስፈልገናል አባቱ
ለበጎጉት እንጠብቃለን እውነትህን ነው ለውድ ይቀበል
ለውድ ይሁን
በለቱ ቀን ብዬ ነበር። እሺ እንዳልክ እንግዲህ መቼስ ከጨከንክብን።
አዎ ደግሞ ልብስ በጣም ነው የሚያምረው። አንተ በቃ ምኒልክ ይመስላል። በጣም ነው የሚያምረው።
እጅ ነስቻለሁ።
ኧረ አይገባም። እንደዚህ ለብሰና ትመጣለህ አይደል እሑድ?
እኔ እንኳን እሑድ ሀዘን ላይ ነኝ። እሑድ አልችልም። አንድ ወዳጄ ጋር ሄዳለሁ እሑድ።
ይሄን አለባበስ ታዲያ እሑድማ ማየት አልነበረብንም።
አሉ የሚመጡ እኔን ሪፕሬዘንት የሚያደርጉ አርበኞች አሉ። አይዞህ
እንግዲህ እንደዛ ከሆነ መልካም። እኔ እንኳን እንግዲህ እሑድ ተዘጋጅቼ መጥቼ በደንብ ጃሎ ላለው ፎክራለሁ። ለዛ ይተላለፍልኝ።
ሸጋ እንግዲህ ቢልዬ አስገባ ሌላውን ያልከውን።
I think Galaxy request አድርጋለሁ. He needs to accept.
ዝናሽን ብላችኋል ነበር እንዴ? ዝናሽ እኮ ነበረች አሁን።
የዝናም ኦልሬዲ እኮ ልከንላታ ሪኩዌስቱን ማለት ነው።
የዝና ሀዘን ጉዳይ ያለችውና አይሆንም አሁን ሰዓት
ግጥም አለኝ ያለች ነበረ ብርሃን።
እውነት በደስታ እንደዛ ከሆነማ
አዎ ደስ ይላል በጣም።
ኢንጂነር ሽበራው ደነቀ ከሎስ አንጀለስ ጁዋ
ጤና ይስጥልኝ። ጤና ይስጥልኝ። ሰላም ደህና ናችሁ ወይ?
ጤና ይስጥልኝ። እንዴት
I'm contemplating if I want to speak in English or አማርኛ ግራ ገባኝ። I'll try to do it in English. My name is Chef in a short name. My name is Shufra Deneke. I was a civil engineer, retired 5 years ago. And it's a blessing day today. After 127 years, Milik is the best. And I went to school to Milik too, so I'm going to be biased. The 2 months which are going to be our favorite here in America, one is going to be the Black History Month, which is February. It was a very short one, but when I hear the next one, Adwa is going to be honored on March month. I would make it a triplet because I'm going to be celebrating my birthday on March 5th. So it's going to be a very articulate month for me. And I want to acknowledge Professor Ezra, if he's around, and he's a good friend of my cousin, Liz Kifle. Hi Ezra, how are you? This is Chef from California. And one time I came to the pub and we had beer. I really enjoyed your company. Imagine if Gashi Alamayo, which is my uncle, if he was around to see you, he will be very thrilled. He educated the best student, which I am looking at you right now. And I want to acknowledge Lij Mulgeta Asrat, which I never met him in life, but I do feel his presence, and I want to thank you. And I thank you to all the people who read the poem, and the lady who had the best song, and it's a great time, and I really enjoyed it. And I want to give back the panel to somebody else. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you, Shvera. Thank you so much. Just, I think quickly, Dr. Cressida also raised her hand. Cressida, you're somewhere. Biniam, can you give a mic?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh yes, we can hear it. Cressida.
እንደምን አመሻችሁ? ተናስተልን።
We can't see you, but we can hear you. But that's okay.
ደህና አመሻችሁ?
እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን።
በጣም አሪፍ ነው። በጣም ደስ ይላል። በጣም ቆንጆ።
እናመሰግናለን።
So I am coming on Sunday.
Fantastic.
And I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that you'll be able to fit everybody inside, because there's so many people will come this time, I think.
Yes, you're right. We prepared for it.
Are you prepared?
We think so. We're prepared. We're prepared.
Very, very good. Very good. I'm sorry Mama Muchi couldn't make it, but it's been lovely to see everybody on the screen, and I'm very excited about Sunday.
Thank you very much. We'll look.
I'll see you then.
Namaskar.
Danadaru.
Danadari. So I think we can, unless we have some people who would like to speak, maybe Gashkifle, Bellata, any of you, any more people would like to say a few things? Gashkifle, as Ram Gimtuna and Nagore Fulagutu, Yalano.
So ask anybody who's an attendee if they want to raise their hand, and they can.
Yeah, William, can you find Gash Kiflin?
Gash Kiflin, yes, I did request. So እሳቸው መቀበል መቻል አለባቸው ሪኩዌስቱን ኦልሬዲ ልኬላቸዋል።
Gash Kiflin ጥያቄ
and ጋሽ በለጠ አስበው
ኦኬ እንዲናገሩ ተፈቅዶላቸዋል እናንተ መቀበል ነው በቃ ከዛ በኋላ ኢንዴክስ be prepared to host the Q&A session.
Somebody's trying to talk from the Galaxy S21.
I think that might be maybe the selling, so I don't know.
Ooh. Selling for the artist? From artist?
Galaxy S21.
Same person we spoke to a moment ago?
Maybe you understand. Unmute. You need to unmute it. Good. Oh, again, try again. Okay, now it's good. Go, talk.
ሰማር ደሳለኝ እየታየኝ ነው አለ ሳምሱንግ 21 እየገባ ይታየኛል I don't know እንግዲህ እንዳስቸገረው
Please unmute.
ደሳለኝን አይቼዋለሁኝ ገብቶ አሁንም አለ ጋላክሲ S21 አዎ ይሄው ይታያል ዌቭ ያረጋላችሁ ነው እና ፕሊዝ
ቢኒ ስጠው
እና የዝናም ግጥም አላት የዝናንም ቢኒ ያስገባት
ኦኬ
አመሰግናለሁ
ራሳቸውን አንሚዩት ማድረግና ቪዲዮውን ማድረግ ነው የሚጠበቅባቸው ኦሬዲ I think ደሳለኝ he needs to unmute himself
ሚዩት ሆነሃል አንሚዩት
እስቲ ከሰማክ ኦኬ ቴክስት ላርግ I don't know እጂ እንትን ይላል I don't know
እኛም አንሚዩት በልና ክሊክ አድርገው ስሙ ጋይድና
እኔ አድርጌያለሁ ግን
I can see ደሳለኝ
Yeah, but mute it not. We can't hear you.
Unmute.
Yeah. አንቺ ሶፍት እንትኑ ጋር ሄዱና
መናገር አልችልም እያለ ነው
ሶ እኔና አስክ ብቻ ነው አንሚዩት እንዲያደርግ ሪኩዌስት አድርግ ነው የሚለኝ
ሚዩት ደሳለኝ
Okay, so
yeah.
So should I make him a host, maybe? I don't know.
Make him the host. We might get stuck otherwise. He might not give us back.
Maybe you will stuck if you give him a host, so it's better not to give.
Yeah, don't give him the host because we might not get it back.
Yeah.
Next time, no, you need to reconfigure your Zoom. So you never give your host, but co-host Marichila.
Co-host. I don't think co-host can give you this.
Configure ማድረግ አለበት ከሚቲንጉ በፊት.
William, can you do that?
Not now. Before the meeting.
Before we say
it depends from.
what a shame.
ጋሽ ክፍሌ ገብተዋሉ ጋሽ በለጠም ገብተዋሉ እነሱ ስፒክ ማድረግ ይችላሉ I think.
ደሳለኝ ጋሽ ክፍሌ የተናገሩ እያለ ደሳለኝ ራስን ካሜራውን አንሚዩት ማድረግ ከቻልክ ሞክር
There are 57 attendees and anybody who wants to say a few words if you raise your hand so we can make you a participant. Anybody who's an attendee now it's down to 42.
አንሚዩት ማድረግ ከቻለ አንሚዩት አድርጉታ
እኛ እናደርገው አንቺ
ራሱ ካላረገው እኛ ልናረገው አልቻለም
So request, so we can request, but we can't really unmute them. So we can request for them to unmute themselves.
እሺ ደሳሌ በቃ ሞክር እስከምትችል ድረስ ማይኩ ያንተ ያለው ነው ይመስለኝ በቀኝ በኩል ወይ ማለት ታች በስተቀኝ በኩል
In this case አንጀላን ትንሽ አንዳንድ ጥያቄዎች ብንጠይቅስ
እሺ ጋሽ ክፍሌ ይናገር ይችላል ካለዚያ ወደ ኮስኩዌን እንገባለን ወደዚያ
ይሰማል ሆይ
እዴ ጋሽ ክፍሌ ይሄው ይሰማል አሁን
ነቃ ብያለሁ አሁን
ስልኮ ካሜራው ጠፍቷል
ግደለም እንጂ እንደሚባ I look better on the radio እንደሚባለው ነው እኔ እንኳን ከነዚህ ሁሉ ምሁር ቀጥሎ ምንም መናገር አልችልም ባይዘው እኔም ከዝራና ከሙሉጌታ ጋር አብሬ ነው የተማርኩት ግን እኩል አልተማንም ምናልባት ቅድም የገባው ሽፈራው ደነቀ ያክስቴ ልጅ ነው ወንድሜ ነው እና የልጅ አዋቂ እየተባለ ነው ያደገው እና ካሁን ወዲያ እንግዲህ እንድጠሩት
እሺ
ጊዜ ታገኘ ስለ ታሪክም ሊተነትን ይችላል ጋሽ ራጅነሳለሁ
እና ይሄ ሽፈራው እኔን እንደሰነበተ አቶ አለማየሁንም አነሳልኝ
አቶ አለማየሁ እኮ በጣም ዘመዱ ናቸው
እና ዋናው ተማሪ ነው ብለውኛል ብሎ ነገረኝ አሁንና ደሳለኝ
እሱንማ ለኔም ነግረውኛል አንተም ነግሬሃለሁ ብቻ እንዳትኮራ ብዬ ነው አልፎ አልፎ አነሳብሃለሁ
በትህትና ልቅነት መጠን ትሁትኝ ይላልና ትሁት ነኝ ግዴታ
እና ሁላችሁንም እናመሰግናለን ጥሩ ዝግጅት ነበረ ወደ በለጠ እንተላለፍ አሁን
እሺ በለጠ የምትናገር ነገር ካለ ተናገር ከዛ ወደ question and answer Q&A sessions we will go
well እኔ እስከሚስተካከል ድረስ እንግዲህ
yes index any
ዶክተር አንጀላ ፀሐይ ሬቨንን ትንሽ በአማርኛ ስለ ታሪካችን ቢነግሩን ጥሩ ነው አማርኛ የሚቀናን ሰዎች ስላለን እሳቸውም ጥሩ አማርኛ ስለሚናገሩ ዶክተር አንጀላ ፀሐይ ሬቨን እስኪ እንደው ስለ አድዋ በአማርኛ ቢነግሩን ትንሽ የሚሰማውትን ያድዋን በዓል አስመልክቶ ትንሽ በአማርኛ ቢያወጉን ጥሩ ነው ብዬ አስባለሁ
Okay, she's ready now for you.
Yeah, she's coming up, yes.
Yep. Uh-oh.
እሺ አናስተልኝ እቅርታ ጥያቄው ምን ነበር አልሰማሁትም በትክክል
ለመጠየቅ እንግዲህ አድዋን አከባበር በአማርኛ እንደው ትንሽ ግንዛቤ ቢሰጡን ብዬ ነው ዶክተር አንጀላ ፀሐይ ሬቨን ፀሐይን ስላረሳው ነው ትክክል ላይ ቅድም ሲገጠምም መቼስ ከጣይቱ ጋር ስለተገናኘ በሱም ትንሽ ምን እንደተሰማውት ቢነግሩን
እንግዲህ ይሄ የኔ ታሪክ አይደለም የናንተ ታሪክ ነው እኛ ከውጪ ነው ምናደምቀው እንትን ምን ነበር ምለው ማለት ለፈረንጆች በጣም የሚያስደነግጥና የሚያስደንቅ ታሪክ ነው ይሄንን ውጊያ ሲመለከቱት ብዙ ነገር ነው የለመዱት ከዛ ውጊያው አንደኛ እነሱ ብቻ አይደለም ንጉስ የነበራቸው ንግስቲት እንኳን የነበራቸው እና የሌላውን ሀገር አሰራር የሌላውን ሀገር መንግስት ማክበር ያኔ ነው የጀመሩት። ከዛ በፊት እኛ ብቻ ነን ኃይል ያለን፣ እኛ ብቻ ነን ስልጣን ያለን፣ እኛ ብቻ ነን ተላልቅ ወታደር አንድ ላይ ኦርጋናይዝ ምናምን ለማድረግ እና የውጭ ሀገር ሰው especially በአፍሪካ ውስጥ እንደዚህ ሲደረግ በጣም ገረማቸው። ደግሞ የገረመው ማን ነው? ከሁሉም ሰፊ ህዝቡ ነው። ለምን? ፖለቲካው ያ ፖለቲካል ነገር ያቃል። ሰፊ ህዝብ ምንም አይነገረውም፣ ትምህርት የላቸውም። የነጮችም ብዙ ጊዜ በድንቁር እስካሁን ድረስ ሰፊ ህዝብ ምንም አያውቅም ስለሌላ ሀገር። ትምህርት ቤትም ሰለራ እንኳን የውጭ ሀገር ታሪክ የራሱን ታሪክ እንኳን በደንብ አያውቅም። እና ስለዚህ ዜናው ሲወጣ ያኔ ህዝቡ ገረማቸው። እንዴ የራሳችን መንግስት እንኳን እኛን ውሸት ነው የሚነግረን፣ ሁሉ ጊዜ አሸናፊ ነን። ሁሉ ጊዜ ነጮች ነው የሚያሸንፉት፣ እኛንን ስልጣን ያለ ይሄን ይነገራቸውና ብዙ ሰው ይሄንንም ይጠረጥረዋል። ነጮቹም ይሄንን ሲሳሙ እንዴ ለምንድነው እኛም እውነት ማይነገር ጋዜጣ ላይ ምንም ማይነቡ እና ስለዚህ ይሄ አድዋ ለነሱ ትልቅ ነገር ሆነ እና የራሳቸውንም ታሪክ መጠረጠር ጀመሩ። ያኔም እንቅስቃሴ ደግሞ በየሀገሩ ሲጀመር ወታደሩ ራሱ ማለት ጣሊያን ይሁን እንግሊዝም ይሁን በኋላ ለምንድነው መዋጋ? ለየት ነው መሄድ? ይሄ አይነት ጥያቄ ተነሳ እና በአውሮፓ ውስጥ ብዙ ጥያቄ ስለ የራሳቸው መንግስት ማለት ነው ጥያቄ ማንሳት ጀመሩ እና በዚህ ምክንያት ውቀት ራሱ ሰፊ የሆነ ሄደ ማለት ነው። I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
አማርኛው ጠፍቷል።
አይ በጣም ቆንጆ ነው አማርኛው። የሴቶችስ አስተዋጽኦ መቼስ ብዙ ፖሊሲ ጥናት አድርገዋል በሴቶች ጉዳይ probably in modern times ግን የንግስቲቱ የጣይቱ ጉዳይ እንዴት ነው እርሶ የሚያዩት ዶክተር ፀሐይ? አንጀላ ፀሐይ ሬቨን
ፀሐይ ቢሆንም ሶስተኛ ስሜ ነው፣ ግድ የለም ደስ ይለኛል። ነው ለምሳሌ እንኳን በኢትዮጵያ በአፍሪካ ውስጥ ብዙ ኃይለኛ ሴቶች አሉ። ዳሆሜ፣ ማሊ በየታሪኩ እየወጣ ነው። አሁን ስለነሱ ይለመዳል። ድሮ ደግሞ ሂስትሪ ሲባል his story የሱ ታሪክ እንጂ her history የሷ ታሪክ ብዙ የለም እና ስለዚህ በአካዴሚክ ጥናት ውስጥ አረ ወንዱም ሴቱም ይጠና፣ የሴቷም ታሪክ አላት፣ ፈረሰኛው ታሪክ አለው፣ ወታደሩ ታሪክ፣ ሁሉም የራሱ ታሪክ አለ እና ሁሉንም ማጥናት አለብን እና ሁሉም ሲታይ በጣም ድንቅ ነገር ይሆናል እና እስካሁን ድረስ ብዙ ታሪክ በየቦታው እየተለቀመ ነው እና ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ በጣም ፍሎሪሽንግ ኢትዮጵያን ስታዲዝ ኮሚኒቲ አሉ እና ይሄ I think by international studies group, I think the Ethiopian studies community is the biggest international. I don't think I've heard of any other society of international scholars of one country, including national, of course, more including nationals, but as big as there has been or is around Ethiopia. And አሁን ብዙ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ስላለ እየበዛ እየሄደ ነው። በኦራል ሂስትሪ ደግሞ በጣም ቆንጆ ታሪክ እየመጣ ነው ከክልሉ ከጎሳ ራሱ ከአባት ወደ ልጅ የወረደ ታሪክ እና አሁን ብዙ ይሄ እየመጣ ነው። ስለዚህ it's very flourishing time እንትን ታሪክ ለማጥናት በአሁኑ ጊዜ።
በጣም አመሰግናለሁ ዶክተር ፀሐይ። ሌላው መቼስ ለማጠቃለያ ደግሞ ጥሩ የሚሆነው ምንድነው እንግዲህ በአፄ ኃይለ ሥላሴ ዘመን እርሶም እንደነበሩበት በአጋጣሚ አውቃለሁና ከልጅነት አንስቶ ብዙ ፈርስት ሃንድ ኤክስፒሪየንስ አለውት ከንጉሠ ነገሥቱ ጋር ከፌርፊልድ ጋር ስናያይዘው ከቤቱ ጋር እንዴት ነው ያንን ያዩትን ታሪክ እዚህ መተው ደግሞ ፌርፊልድን ያገኙ ጊዜ ፌርፊልድ እንዳለ ኦፍ ኮርስ ሊያውቁ ይችላሉ፣ ግን ምን አይነት ነገሮች ነው ያስተዋሉት? አሁን እንግዲህ እንደሚያዩት ዲያስፖራው ኮሚኒቲው አብሮ እዚህ ሴሌብሬት እያደረገ ነው አድዋን በማድረግ ግን ከዚህ በፊት እርሶም ኦክስፎርድ ዛሬ 3-4 ዓመት አፍሪካን ብላክ ሂስትሪ ማንት ላይ የኛ አክቹአሊ ኖቬምበር ኦር ኦክቶበር አካባቢ ነው እዛ ላይ ጥሩ ዝግጅት አርገዋልና ያንን እየደጋገሙ ቢያረጉ ጥሩ ነው። እንደውም ሌላውን እዚሁ ባፍ ቢያረጉት በጣም ጥሩ ነው። አንደኛው እዛ ፓነሊስት ሆኖ የነበረው አሁን ፌርፊልድ ውስጥ የሚሰራው ወንድማችን ራስ ቤንጂ ነውና እርሱ ያዘጋጁት ላይ ነው ያገኘሁትና እስኪ እይታዎትን እንደው ሳላስረዝም እይታዎትን ቢያካፍሉን ስለ ፌርፊልድና የእርሶም ደግሞ በአፄ ኃይለ ሥላሴ ዘመን መኖርና እዚህ እንዴት እንዳገኙት። አመሰግናለሁ።
ውይ እሺ ትልቅ ጥያቄ ነው። well I mean Fairfield ቤቱ ራሱ 80 ዓመቱ ሊሆን ነው መሰለኝ። is it nearly 80 years old? 80 Haile Selassie came in 1938 and moved in around 36
with him.
Anyway, yeah, but I'm
He's got a mother just like me that's near him.
Yeah. Anyway, ቤቱ በጣም የታወቀ ማለት
You very seldom know actually who you shot. Most of shootings done.
አቶ ክፍሌን ሚውት ብታረግልን።
አቤት
ሚውት አርጉልኝ። ባክግራውንድ ድምጽ ይሰማል አቶ ክፍሌ።
You just do it. Okay, sorry.
እሺ ይቀጥሉ የኔ ናት።
Yeah. Anyway, ቤቱ የራሱ ታሪክ እኔ እንዳየው የሚሰማኝ ለብዙ አመት በመጀመሪያ ጊዜ በጣም የታወቀ ቤት ነበረ። ከሁለተኛ ዓለም ጦርነት በኋላ እስከ 1950s 60s እንደዚህ በባስ ውስጥ የታወቀ ቤት ነበረ እና በኋላ 70s እንደዚህ ሲሆን ያኔ አንደኛ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ብዙ ግርግር ነበረ እና በቃ ስለ ኢትዮጵያ ኢንትረስት ፈረሰ እና አብሮ ቤቱም በቃ የድሮ ሰው ደግሞ እያረፉ አሁን ያሉትን በደንብ አላወቁትም፣ ታሪኩም ጠፋ። ኢትዮጵያ became another country እና it was dismissed በቃ ኮሚኒስት ነው ምናምን ተብሎ ጨለማ ውስጥ ገባ ለውጭ ሀገር ሰው እና ደግሞ እንትን እንግሊዝ ሀገር ያሉት አበሾች በጣም የራሳቸው ጭንቅ ነበረ እና ስለ ቤት ይሁን ስለ ታሪክ ሁሉ ማንም ሰው ኢንትረስት ማድረግ አልቻለም ግን እንትን ችሎታም አልነበረውም እና ለብዙ አመት I think it struggled ብቻ እነዚህ ፖሊን እነዚህ ባስ ያሉት በጣም they kept it going somehow with እና አሁን በሁለተኛ ጀነሬሽን እና especially ደግሞ እነ ራስ ተፋሪያን ራሳቸው እነሱም ነው ደግሞ ድጋፍ የሰጡት እነሱም ደግሞ they were misunderstood ማን ናቸው I mean ቦብ ማርሊ ይታወቃል ብቻ ራስ ተፋሪያን ሲባል ግንኙነትን አላወቁም ራስ ተፋሪያን እና ራስ ተፈሪ የኢትዮጵያ ታሪክ የራስ ተፈሪ ንጉስ እንደሆነ ይሄን ሁሉ ሲገናኝ ማንም ሰው አላወቀውም እና ኮሚኒቲው ራሱ እንደ obscure they had to fight even for their own recognition never mind Ethiopia እና ስለዚህ it's a big struggle and not it, the fact that it took till in the 1990s and 2000s for it to get this far is kudos to all the small groups who were coming together. Meanwhile, Ethiopia safi tarik lela yehone heda. ስለዚህ በዚህ መካከል ቤቱን ማስጠንከር በጣም አስቸጋሪ ሆነ ብቻ አሁን እየጎበዙ ነው እና እኛ ሁላችን whatever our politics ቤቱን መደገፍ አለብን ለምን የታሪክ ቦታ ነው ለነጭም ለዚህ ያሉትም አፍሪካ ዳያስፖራ በእኛ ሀገር in England there's a big challenge we our multi-ethnic multicultural history is non-existent there was a big movement in the 1970s of which I was a part as a teacher to get black history African history to change the education system so we understood more world history and the way in which why are people here people are here because of the empire what was the empire so I think this movement is now coming back ndagana ahun inya ezi yallen we have to keep challenging and places like Fairfield House will help in this if we can make it a real institution and lobby the government all governments even African Unity some millionaire in Nigeria or even Ethiopia should donate something because yes we something has to happen in Britain if you want to change things you also have to change them here Africa has its own history and will reclaim it great but the Brits and people here need to also have their history challenged from within and so it's very important that there are places like Fairfield House I haven't answered your questions but yes we should do more like we did in Oxford in Bath and you have 2-3 universities so it can be a big occasion and I'm hoping I'm the chair of the Anglo-Ethiopian Society and I want to make it a personal pledge to be more supportive because this is a piece of Ethiopia here in Britain and it needs to flourish.
Yeah, kudos to that pledge. I hope William would continue to fill us with his encounter because earlier on I missed his briefings. I know he's there, but William, you're there. I know. Can you confirm that you're there?
I'm here.
It's good to see you, William. How was it? The linkage. Literally, you've just managed to land to a different time zone, to Ethiopia, where everything began.
So,
how was it?
Are you asking how?
One is meeting you, so unmute yourself, please.
Are you asking how? There's echo here. There's too many machines going. I'm unmuted. Are you asking how our trip to Ethiopia reflected on our experience here?
I mean, historical linkage, because you probably have visited, and I knew from some of the pictures that you were linking up with some of the royal families, with some of the historical backgrounds of Azi Haile Selassie and so forth. So how do you actually narrate that in a way that what you do in Fairfield House somehow is encouraged by this recent visit to Ethiopia?
Yeah, we visited Deborah Zeit, we visited Wonder Gannett, the Unity Palace, the Menelik Palace, and the Jubilee Palace. So we saw palaces in every stage in Ethiopia, from still used by the army, and they were very polite to us, and they gave us a cup of coffee, but we couldn't take any photographs, through to one which was used, Wonder Gannett, very recently as a motel, but all the original fittings were there. It was clearly His Majesty's lodging, and that is now going to be a museum. We saw the Menelik Palace, which is a beautiful museum, and we were privileged to get a visit into the Jubilee Palace, which is being transformed and which will open. So we felt very strongly that we at Fairfield House are part of a movement in Ethiopia of opening up these palaces, understanding the legacy, understanding the history. We had no idea that what we were doing was so completely in sympathy. Pauline, do you want to? Yeah. Sister
Yes, I think as William said, it was an opportunity to go, and we just jumped, time zone and everything. It's only 3 hours still in front, so it didn't seem a long time. But yes, it was an experience, and what we saw, not only just the palaces, but the churches, but the people who were willing to speak to us. So we were just invited, and then every day somebody had somewhere else. You must go, you must see, you must speak. So it was really nice to do that. And the link for us is that we at Fairfield House have been doing what we've been doing for 30, 60 years, because even from the home, the house had been known of. So, and where they are just opening now. So another thing was actually being part of the Heritage, Ethiopian Heritage Watch project, and seeing the young people who are now freely to speak and to look at their history and what it is that may have been put aside, but now they can talk about or they can discuss it. And there was just 2 examples of that. There was a young man who spoke Aramo, and he wanted to speak in his language to us and let someone else interpret for him, because to him that was important. Then there was a young girl tell us about a rocking chair that her grandparents had that they were going to throw away, but once they found out the history of how long it had been in the family, they decided to keep it. So history in any form that it comes is important. And also for us going to the Menelik School and walking into the archive library, that was something else, to know that Menelik, the emperor, and many others went to that school, and the record is in that school. So that in itself is an archive for the young people if they choose to go in that space as well. But yes, there was so much things, but we felt that we were on the fringe of just sharing what we were doing here at Fairfield House to what they were doing, and to link it, because many people didn't know of the exile. They didn't know what happened in the exile years, so now it's linking. So I think that went at the right time.
Thank you, Pauline. It's like very nice to hear from you as well, Pauline.
Hey, you.
Yeah. Well, Prince Michael told me that he's managed to see you in a place where I think one of his auntie passed away. So he just managed to see you there, and unfortunately he wasn't well. So he's passing his greetings. I did tell him that I was going to take a part in this. So he's also felt sorry for not organizing some kind of special do for you guys at the hotel he was staying. So please accept his apologies. As you know, he wasn't he was under the weather, so to speak. But do you have you had access to the ስደተኛው መድኃኔዓለም the
yes,
ark?
yes.
You have.
Yes, he took us to the church. We were allowed to see it because no one sees it but the priest.
That's a secret thing.
And it doesn't even come out in Timket, but he did arrange for us to go, and we had the most amazing time there, and to be sitting up on the top table, as they say, he was just a wonderful, wonderful person. And the introduction to everything that we saw within the church setting, that was great. But back to Prince Michael, it was beautiful to see him because we know that he was unwell. So it was good to see him at the funeral wake and to have the opportunity to sit and to speak with him. So I send him my best. I know he's back here as well. So always in thought, always in mind with Fairfield House, because he was the person at the very beginning who made that journey, who did the fundraising, who opened it up to the wider community. So the Ethiopian community has been here for many years through him as well.
Thank you very much. And the Q&A will continue, but I know some people are preparing to take part. So Binyam, is there any lineup on this?
Just, is there any more question? Do you see?
I have a question for any of the panelists. Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We're celebrating 127th anniversary of the battle, the victory of Battle of Adwa, and I'm sure most of you are aware of what's going on in Ethiopia today, and the last few weeks. Do you have any updates? What's going on in the UK area, and what its impact on your ability to celebrate Adwa here in Fairfield House?
I just say at Fairfield House we concentrate on His Majesty's legacy, and we've had no negative impact, so we don't know anything about it.
Thank you. Can I ask in Amharic the Professor Ezra? አቶ ዝራ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። ቅድም ያነበቡት መጽሐፍ መቼስ ካነባበው ጋር ከጥኦም ያለው ነገር ነው እና ደስ ይላል ነው የአድዋን ባህልና የአከባበር ባህልና የፌርፊልድን ብዙ ሲያገለግሉ የነበሩ እንደነበሩ ብዙ ጊዜም ስመጣ አዮታለው እና እንደው እዚህ ለሚታደሙት ወንድሞቻችን እህቶቻችን ምንድነው አርጉ ብለው የሚመክሩት ከዚህ በፊትም ሲያገለግሉት የነበረውን የአፄ ኃይለ ሥላሴን ቤት እንዴት ነው ማውረስ የሚችሉት? እርሶ እንግዲህ የተሻሉትን አድርገዋል፣ ላይብረሪ እያቋቋሙ ነው ወዘተርፈ። እንዴት ነው ሊረዳ የሚችለው? እስኪ ያለዎትን እይታ ቀደም የተናገሩትን ጨምረው እንደው ቢያበረሩልን። አመሰግናለሁ።
አሁን እንግዲህ በእኛ ባህል በግዙ መካን ይቀድሶ ለሰብ፣ ሰብ ይቀድሶ ለመካን። ሰው ቦታን ያከብረዋል፣ ቦታ ደግሞ ሰውን ያከብረዋል። እዚህ ክቡራን ሰዎች ነበሩ፣ በሃይማኖታቸው የጸኑ፣ የሀገራቸው ፍቅር በልባቸው የሚነድ፣ አንድ ጊዜም ከሀገራቸው ማሰብ ያልተዉ ሰዎች። እዚህ ታላላቅ ሰዎች ነበሩ፣ እንደ ብላታ ሩይ፣ እጅግ አዋቂ፣ ብዙ የደረሱ፣ ብዙ ጻፉ። እንዲሁም ደግሞ ራስ ካሳ በቤተ ክርስቲያን ትምህርታችን ሊቅ የሆኑ እነኚህ ሁሉ ስለነበሩበት እዚህ መምጣት ታሪክን መውረስ ነው። እንግዲህ ይህን ቦታ የተቀደሰ ነው ብንል የመድኃኔዓለም ታቦት አሁን ስደተኛው የጠቀስከው ግርማዊ አፄ ኃይለ ሥላሴና አማካሪዎቻቸው ወደ ኢየሩሳሌም የዛ ጊዜ ባህና ነበሩ፣ ባህና የሚባሉ ሰደው ታቦት አመጡ። ታቦቱንም መድኃኔዓለም ብለው እዚህ እንዲሁ መቃኞ መቃረቢያ የሚባላል በአማርኛ ያንን ቦታ ባርከው ታቦቱን አስቀምጠው ጠዋት ማታ ሲጸልዩበት፣ በተለይ እቴጌ መነን ለጸሎት በጣም ይደክሙ ነበር። እዚህ በምቾት አልኖሩ፣ በችግር የገንዘብ ችግር የሙቀት ቦታው ትልቅ ስለሆነ አሮጌ ስለነበረ ቤቱን ማሞቅ የሚቸግራቸው ነበር። ያም ሆኖ እለት ከእለት እየተጻጻፉ አርበኞች ጋር እየተነጋገሩ እዚህ ሰውነታቸውን ወደ አገራቸው ሲመለሱ በሱዳን በኩል ሰውነታቸውን ያየ ሰው በሰውነታቸው ቅርጽ ሊያዩ ይችላል። ከስተው መልምነው ነው ከዚህ ሄዱት፣ ደልቷቸው ተጫውተው አይደለም። እንግዲህ ይሄ የኢትዮጵያን መንፈስ ነው እዚህ የመጡት ይዘው የመጡት። ስለዚህ እኛ እዚህ ያለነው ሰዎች ያንን መንፈስ ነው ይዘን የምንሰራ ያለነው። አሁንም ደህና ሰዎች እዚህ ተሰብስበዋል። ይሄ ቤንጂራስ ቤንጂ የሚባለው አቶ ዊሊያም፣ እዚህ ደግሞ አቶ ፍስሐ፣ ወይዘሮ ፖሊን፣ እነኚህ ሁሉ ሌሎችም ብዙ አሉ። ስማቸውን አልጠራሁትና ለጊዜው እዚህ የሌሉ እነሱ ሁሉ ያንን የያዝነውን ባህላችንን መልሰን ለማምጣት በአሁን ጊዜ የተመሰቃቀለውን የሀገራችን የፖለቲካ አስተያየት እዚህ ገብቶ ደግሞ እንዳያተራምሰን ለመምከር በጥንቃቄ ሆነን አንድነትን ይሄ አንድነት ግን ቢሆንም ተጠልቷል እንጂ የሚበልጠው እሱ ነው። ዞሮ ዞሮ ይሄ ወደፊት ታሪክ የሚፈታ ይሆናል። በውስጡ ያለውን ችግር በለው በቀላሉ ወተወተነው ወደፊት ልጆቻችን ሀገራቸውን ፍቅር በዚህ ላይ ደግሞ የዚህንም ሀገር ሰላም ከቀሩት ኢትዮጵያውያን ጋር ሆነን ወደፊት እንቀጥላለን እያልኩ አስባለሁ።
በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። በእውነቱ ደግሞ እርሶም የቤተ ክህነት ሰው እንደሆኑ ነግረውኛል። አሁን እዛም ታቦቱም ስለነበረ እንደው ካህናቶች አሉ፣ ለንደን ላይም በታላቋ ብሪታንያ ብዙ ካህናቶች አሉ። እንደው በአመት እየመጡ ጸሎትና ሌላም ከሃይማኖታችን ጋር ለምሳሌ ከኦርቶዶክስ ጋር የተገናኘ ነገር እንዲያደርጉ እንደው ከእርሶም እንዲማሩ እንደው ግብዣ ቢያደርጉላቸውስ ምን ይመስልዎታል?
ይሄማ የሚፈልግ ጥሩ ጉዳይ ነው። ይዛስኪ ቸርች ሰርቪስ ጌታ ፕሪስት ይሄ በጣም የምንፈልገው ነው የሚሉት እዚህ ያሉት ሁሉ። ባለፈው እዚህ ቄስ አባት የሚባሉ መጥተው ነበረ። ታቸው ጋር ጥቂት ተነጋግረናል። ወደፊት የአንዳንድ ሁኔታችን ሲስተካከል ቢቻል በወር አንድ ጊዜ የተመጣ ቢቀደስበት ፈቃዳችን ነው። እናም በተሻለ መጠን ይሄንን እናደርጋለን።
በጣም ጥሩ ኢንዴክስ እንዳረብሽ ሰዓትም ይሄደ ነው። ግን አርቲስት ደሳለኝ we now know he's able to speak apparently.
Can we give it? I have finished, thank you.
Have you? Index እናመሰግናለን ለሁሉ ነገር. Thank you so much. Legend, thank you. Is the artist is now able to speak? Biniam, can you give him a mic again? ደሳለኝ
አይሰማቸውም? ፊሽ
አይሰማንም። ያወራ ነው ደሳለኝ። አሁን
በስፒከር ለማድረግ እየሞከርን ነበረ። ታውቃለህ፣ እያስቸገረ ነው ማለት ነው። ይሰማቸዋል? ፊሽ ቆይ እስቲ ወይ ደሳለኝ መልሼ ልደውልልህ። ፊሽ አይሰማችሁም ነበረ ድምፁ የደሳለኝ?
አይሰማም ነበር።
እሺ ቆይ እስቲ ድጋሚ በእንትን ነው ለማድረግ በዋትስአፕ ደውዬለት አውዲዮን ተጠቅሞ ማለት ነው። እሱ የዋትስአፕ ድምጽ ይሰማላችኋል?
በአንተ በኩል ነው ልታደርገው? go ahead።
ጥሩ ነው፣ ሞክር እንደዛ። ዳስቲር እንደውም ማሞ ውጪ እንደዛ ነበር ያለው።
እስቲ ይሰማል? ላውድ ስፒከር ላይ ነው እኮ Yeah, unfortunately, I think አንተን አይሰሙህም ለዛ ነው sorry
አሁን ይሰማል
አሁን ቀጥላውን ይሰማል እያሉኝ ነው አሁን ይሰማችኋል ወይ እያላችሁ ነው የሚሰማችሁ ከሆነ የእጃችሁን እንቅስቃሴ ያሳዩ ነው የሚለው ድምጹ ትንሽም አይሰማም ነበር አሁን
ቅድም ይሰማ ነበር
እስቲ አሁን አውራ ደሳለኝ ትንሽ
ተጋበል ወደ ስልክ ደሳለኝ ወደ ስልኩ ጋር ተጋበል
ዋ ጠጋታ I think በቃ ስልኩ የሚያስቸግር ይመስለኛልና መስማት ወደ በእናንተ በኩል በዋትስአፕ በኩል አልሰማ ስላለ ሶሪ በጣም
ኦኬ ሌላ ሰው ግጥም የሚያነብ ነበር ብርሃንም ጠፋች እንዴ ብርሃን ቅድም ስለ ግጥም ስታወራ ነበር
እንዴት ይሰማል ድምጼ ይቅርታ William would like to show the pianola as a closing part of the program. The pianola is the instrument that the emperor himself and the family were enjoying very much. At the time when things were very difficult, they were listening to that for consolation. Should we do that now? So this is William. Can you give an introduction about the instrument that he behind it? Just briefly.
Look, you can hear me. This is the pianola that was in the house when His Majesty was living here. It was returned to us by the family that had it. It's made by W. Menzel. Sean Sobers, Professor Sobers, has written a little book about it, a little description of it. It's an ordinary piano. But it also has his machinery inside. And if I pedal the pedals, we can hear the music that maybe the imperial family used to hear. I'll try and get the speed right.
I think the studies have come. ደሳለኝ ጋር ገባ ዊሊያም አይሰማም
we can't hear you William that's what he's saying Eskiel
Don't stay out late don't go my radio when it's behaving say hello to you
Okay.
So that's it really.
And what a lovely evening. Thank you.
So should we say thank you?
Fish.
Wow.
Fish.
So that was in effect the closing part of this program.
Fish, pay attention to Binyam, please.
Binyam.
Fish, unfortunately, ደሳለኝ በጣም ስትራግል አድርጓል ግን ሙሉ ፕሮግራሙን ሰምቻለሁ እጅግ በጣም ደስ ብሎኛል ይሄንን ነገር ትልቅ ማድረግ አለብንና እዚህ ውስጥ የተወያያችሁትን ሰዎች በሙሉ በጣም ማግኘት እንደሚፈልግ በአካል ባዝ እንደሚመጣና ባዝ በሚመጣበት ሰዓት ላይ ሁላችሁንም እንደሚያገኝና ይሄንን ትልቅ እንደ አድዋ ለንደን ላይ እንደተከበረው በዓል ትልቅ እየሆነ በየአመቱ እንዲከበር እሱም አብሮ ከናንተ ጋር ብዙ መስራት እንደሚፈልግና ብዙ ኢንተርቪው ማድረግ የሚፈልጋቸው ሰዎች እንዳሉ ገልጿል ጋሽ ዝራንም ፀሐይንም ጨምሮ ሌሎቹንም ሰዎች ማለት ነውና እሁድ ለታ እንገናኝ በደመቀ ሁኔታ እናከብራለን የሚል መልእክት አስተላልፏል
በጣም ቆንጆ ስለዚህ እሁድ ከመጣ ከሆነ እንደውም ቆንጆ ነው ስለዚህ እናመሰግናለን በጣም I think they also it's now we close now yes they would like to finish and close now so thank you very much everyone for taking part for being really very patient listen to the whole program it's really incredible for all the people who came along perform and gave us a speech Dr. Angelina Ato Ezra fascinating stories and everybody else of course who took part the musicians the people who read the poem I think Dr. Takela is too far I think he's struggling so he couldn't get in from Japan Professor Mamo is in Ethiopia couldn't manage to get in so we accept and understand the video message from Prince Aster couldn't quite work as well never mind so we thank you all
finally I'd like to thank you.
And thank you to the Ethiopian community as a whole. Yeah. And please keep supporting Fairfield House. Donate to Fairfield House is very important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again on Sunday.
Fusa.
Habit.
Fusa.
Balle. Hello.
Fusa.
Habit.
አይ የመጨር ሰላም ሰው ሰላም ለማለት ነው አስቸግሮኝ ስለነበር ነው ቅድም ክፍሌ እንደተናገረው ክላስሜቶችን ጠቅሷል እኔም እስከያስ አንድ ክላስሜት አንድ ትምህርት ቤት ነን አብረን ነው በጨረስ ነው እንትን ነው ሼፍንም በማግኘቴ በጣም ደስ ብሎኛል ይሄንን ለማለት ነው ትንሽ ግን ኮሜንት እንድታደርጉበት የሚፈልገው አንድ ነገር ነበረ ስላለቀ ጥያቄውን ልቶ ግን ያንዳንዳችሁ ይሄንን ጥያቄ ወስዳችሁ አስቡበት what is the victory of Adwa just have that in mind አሁን መልስ መስጠት ባትችሉ ጨርሻለሁ
ስላድዋ አስቡ
ሄሎ ፍሳን
ስላድዋ አስቡ እያልክ ነው በለኝ
think about the victory of Adwa
I just asking the panelists to comment about the contribution made by Ethiopian Orthodox Church toward the victory of the Battle of Adwa. Because now maybe we don't have time for them to answer it, but keep in mind.
We'll keep that in mind, yes. And plus on Sunday when we see each other, we can elaborate. We can maybe say a few words about it.
Okay, I'm going to say over.
ገብቷል ደሳለኝ ባለቀ ሰዓት
እውነት
አስገባው
ደሳለኝ
ወይ ታያችሁ ይሆን
ሰላም ነው ወይ
ደህና ነኝ እንደምን ናችሁ
እኛን አንተን የምናውቅህ እንግዲህ ደሳለኝ በሩቅ በሀገራችን አንዳንድ ዝግጅቶች ኖሩ ስለኛ ታሪክ በአርቲስቱ መስኩ ስታቀርብ ስትጫወት ስትወያይ ነው የምንሰምናየው ጊዜ ዛሬ እንደዚህ አጋጣሚ አግኝተን ቅድም ሞክራለንም ግን ስላየን ደስ ብሎናል የምትለው ነገር እሁድ እንገናኛለን እንደግዚአብሔር ፈቃድ ሆኖ መስመጣ ከሆነ ነገር ቢሆንም ግን የምትለው ነገር ካለ እውነት እስቲ ተካፈለን
አንደኛ በጣም ነው ደስ ያለኝ ሲሪየስሊ እና ቆይ ሌላ ስሞክበት የነበረ ስላለ እሱ ላውድ ኤኮ ነገር ስላለ ነው ኤኮ ላጥፎ ቢሆን አሁን ይሰማል
አሁን ሰላም
እሺ በጣም ነው ደስ ያለኝ እውነት ለመናገር አቶ ዝራ ወይ አቶ ወይ ዶክተር አይዶ ነው ማረጋቸውን አላቅም መስጦት አባቴ እግዚአብሔር ክብሩ ይስፋ እንዲ በመደነጋገር ውስጥ ባለንበት ዘመን እንዲህ መልአከ ቅዱሱ በጠፋበት ሁኔታ እንደዚህ ያሉ አባቶች ለትውልዱ እንደዚህ ሊቪንግ ዊትነስ ሆኖ ታሪክን በደንብ ይዞ እንዲህ ለትውልዱ ለማስተረፍ እንዲህ መከራ ስታዩ ማየት እኔ ነፍሴ ትለመልማለችና እግዚአብሔር ክብሩ ይስፋ እንኳን ድምጾትን ለመስማት በመስለም ለማየት በቃሁኝ እንግዲህ እኔ የኢትዮጵያ ቅርስ አስመላሽ ማህበር ኮሚቴ አለ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ በካልቸር ኤንድ ቱሪዝም ሚኒስቴር የተቋቋመ እዛ ውስጥ አለው ብዙ ካልቸር ፖሊሲው ላይ ብዙ ነገሮች ላይ ደክም ያለው ብሎ ፊልም ኤንድ ቲያትር ስላጠናው ሴሌብሪቲ ምናምን ስለሆንኩ አይደለምና I'm really very happy እነ ወይዘሮ ፀሐይ አሁን ስታስጎበኙን የነበረውን ባዝ ያለውን ነገር ማየት ፈልጋለሁ ለንደን ከመጣው አንድ ሳምንት ማነው አንድ ወር አለፈኝ በቀደም የባሉን ፕሮግራም ፕሮሞት ከመጣው ጀምሮ ሳደርግ ነበር ወጣት ልጆች ያስተዋወቁ ትልቅ ነገር ድካም እየደከሙ ጻኑም ወጣቱም ሁሉም ወጥቶ አክብሯል ቀደም ወይዘሮ ፀሐይ ወይ ደግሞ በፈረንጅ ስማቸው አንጀላ ሬቨን ሮበርት የተባሉት እናትና እሳቸው አሁን ሁሉ አማርኛ አጥንተው አማርኛን አልፋቤቱንም ጭምር ኢትዮፒክስ እንዳይነበብ እንዳይወራ በሚባልበት ብዙ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ትግል አድርገናል እንደዚህ የሚነገሩ እናቶችን ማየት እጅግ በጣም ደስ ይላልና ድሜስቶት እናቴ ወይዘሮ ፀሐይ ካሉ እየሰሙኝ ከሆነ አቶ ዝራ ወይም ዶክተር ዝራ አይሮን ነው ታይትል አቶ ድሜስቶት አባቴ በእውነት ላገኘው ተፈልጋለሁ አንድ 3 ሳምንት በላይ ቆያለሁ ባዝ ያለውን መጎብኘት ፈልጋለሁ ውስጤን የሚበላኝ ስንት በሰባዊ እርዳታ ጉዳይ ፋውንዴሽንም ማቋቋም ያለው እዚህ ኢትዮጵያ ሁማኒቴሪያን ኤንድ ቻሪታብል ወርክስ ፋውንዴሽን በተለይም ዘኢትዮጵያ የሚባል ከሰውነት ወጥተን ከበጎነት ወጥተን ወደ እንዲመበላላት ሄድነው ታሪካችን አላውቅ ብለን ነው ያለንበትን ከፍታና በቀደም ራሱ አሁን ለንደን የተከበረው በዓል ላይ ያጼ ምኒልክን አምስተኛ ልጅ እኔም በአንድ በኩል ያጼ ፋሲልና በአንድ በኩል ደግሞ የንጉስ ሚካኤል የጎንደርና የወሎ የሌለብኝ ዘር የለም ከአዲስ አበባ ወደ ላይ ኦሮሞ አለብኝ ወሎ ጎጃም ጎንደር ትግራይ ብዙ አለብኝ የነገስታቱም ዘር አለና ግን ከታሪካችን ተፋተን ከራሳችን ተጣልተን እንዲመከራ ምናየው እንደናቶ ዝራ ያሉትን አባቶች ታሪክ እንዲሲመረምሩ የኖሩ እነሱ ግፍር ቁጭ ብለን አለመማራችን እኔ አሁን ታዋቂ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ደግሞ ትልቁ ችግሩ አሁን እኔ እዚህ ሲመጣ አድናቄ ማአት ነው የነሉ ለዓለማየሁ አስከሬን አጽም እዚህ ተቀምጦ አሁን ባዝ ያለው ታሪካችን አሁን በቀደም እንድትመጣ አደረኳት ከጀርመን ያጼ ምኒልክ አምስተኛ ልጅ ለልሰብለ ወንጌል የልጅ ኢያሱ ልጅ ጀርመን ያለችው እሷን አምጥቼ አትሊስት እውነት መሆኑን እዚህ ለንደን ያለው ሰው እንዲያውቅ ባክሽ መተሽ ተገኝልኝና አንዳንድ ጊዜ 5 ትውልድ ምናምን ስለቆየ 127 አመት ምናምን ዝም ብሎ አፈ ታሪክ ይባላል አድዋ ወይ ሌላ ምናምን ይባል ነገርና አሁን እዚህ ዙም ሚቲንጉ ጥቂት ሰዎች ብቻ የሚሰሙት የሚያዩት መሆኑ ፐብሊክ ሳይዝድ አለመሆኑ ለህፃናትም ለልጆችም ለወጣቶችም እንዲደርስ አለመደረጉ እንደው ዝም ብሎ አላዋቂ ደንቆሮ ፖለቲከኞች እንደሚጫወቱበት 120 ምናምን ሚሊዮን ህዝብ እንደው ታሪክ ማንነት የሚጨበጥ የሚዳሰስ ነገር እንዳለው በደንብ ይሄንን መስራት መቻል አለባቸው አሁን ራሱ በዚህ ቪዲዮ እዛ ሲጸልዩበት የነበረውን አሁን ቀደም ወንድማችን ያሳየን ስታስጎበኘን የነበረው የመድኃኔዓለም የምስካየ ዙናን ያለውን ታቦት መድኃኔዓለም እንግዲህ ትንሽ ጫፍ ነው እኔ እንኳን ታዋቂ ነኝ እንጂ ብዙ አዋቂ አይደለም I studied film and theater but I didn't know that ይሄን ሁሉ ነገር የለኝም እና እባካችሁ እንደው እንዲህ ሆነን ያለቀስና ለጥቂቶች ብቻ እንደዚህ ያወራን እንደዚህ ከመሆን እና እንዲህ ባላዋቂዎች በድንቆሮ ሀገርና ህዝብ ሁሉ ሲጠፋ ከአፍሪካ እንግዲህ the largest population second to Nigeria ከናይጄሪያ ቀጥሎ 120 ምናምን ሚሊዮን ህዝብ ወይም 1/10ኛው የአፍሪካ ህዝብ ኢትዮጵያዊ ነው ለዚህ ሁሉ የጥቁር ህዝብ በዓለም የነጻነት ክብር ቅኝ መግዛትንም ቅኝ መገዛትንም ማቅ የነጻነት ህዝብ ማለት እንግዲህ ለነ ቅዱስ ህዝብ ማለት ይሄ ነው ሎሌም ያልሆነ ባሪያም ያልሆነ ጌታ ሞኛ ዓለምን ልግዛ ያላለ እኩልነት ፍትህን የሰበከ ብዙ ነገር አለ እና አሁን እንትና ሁሉ ሲያወሩ የነበረው አሁን ቅድም ሙሉጌታ ካሳ ሉላኖቹ ይሄ ትልቅ ህብረት ይፈልጋል ኢንስቲትዩሽን ይፈልጋል ሲስተም ይፈልጋል እንደው ዝም ብሎ በዙም ሚቲንግ ብቻ ተወርቶ የሚተው ነገር አይደለም አሁን ወይዘሮ ፀሐይ የለከሙበት ያለውን ያንን ታሪክ ለማቆየት ያችን ቤት $50 $15 ምናምን ፓውንድ አዋጡ ምናምን ያሳዝናል ይሄን ሁሉ አያቅም ህዝቡ አዲስ አበባ አንዱ እግዚአብሔር መቼም ያባቶችን ልብ ወደ ልጆች መልሳለሁ እንደሚለው ይኸው ዛሬ በጭስ ሲታጠኑ አለ እጣን ነው እኛ ታቦት ሲወጣ ሲታጠን የምናቀው ታቦት ሲወጣ እጣን ነው ወደ ሰማይ የሚያርግ መባ መስዋዕት የሚቀርቡ ይኸው ዛሬ የእንትን ጭስ ሲታጠኑ አለ ያስለቃስ ጭስ ያውሉ ህፃንና ወጣትና ምናምን ከዚህ በላይ የሚያስከፋ የሚያሳዝን ነገር የለም ሃይማኖት እና አገር እየተነቀነቀ ለመፍረስ የመጨረሻ እንግዲህ አንድ የቀረች እንግዲህ ቅዱስ ቤተክርስቲያን ነች እሷንም ለማፍረስ እንደየተናጠኑና እባካችሁ በአካል እንድንገናኝ ይፈልጋሉ አንድ 3 ሳምንትም ፍላይቴን ወራዝሜ አንድ ወር በላይም ልቆይ ይችላል ከፋሲካ በፊት መመለስ ስላለብኝና እንደው እባካችሁ ስላገኛችሁ ደስ ብሎኛል I'm very emotional አሁን እና ወንድሜ አንተም ያስጎበኘህን ያለውን እንደው መጥቼ ማየት ፈልጋለሁ እምንችለውን ያህል እንድንታገል ያስፈልጋል እና እነዚህ ነጭ እህትና ወንድሞች አባትና እናቶች ድካማቸውንም እነሱንም አመስግኑልኝ በቋንቋቸው I really want to say thank you those who are around us Adwa is a big victory it's all about human being not about defeating black people those black people defeated white people it's not about that it's about humanity invading others is a crime it's a sin it's a very bad it's a taboo so in Ethiopia it's just about equality otherwise it's all about inferiority complex and superiority complex never that's why in most Ethiopians we didn't agree with black people and white people why because we are not colonizers and we are not colonized that's why so it's all about humanity human being yes we are praying for that otherwise not only about it's not about inferiority and superiority complex it's not about white and black people war or something like that let's work together about humanity equality brotherhood and so on so please let's work I'm Desalegn Hailu from Ethiopia now I'm in London just for a visit for the first time I traveled a lot all over the world but this is my first visit to UK so I'm really very happy there are many Ethiopian I'm also a member of Ethiopian heritage just to back to our country a member and I worked a lot in terms of culture art media and entertainment being just a celebrity doesn't mean በኢትዮጵያ ምን ይባላል እንትን አዋቂና ታዋቂም ይባላል እና አው ሰው የሚያውቀው ታዋቂ ሰዎችን ነው አዋቂዎቹ የሊቃውንቶቹ እንደናቶ ዝራ እንደሌሎቹ ያሉት እነሱን የሚያውቅና የሚከተል የለም እና እንደው ረጅም ሰዓት ስለቆየን በዙም አልቅም በአካል ግን የምንገናኝበትን ወንድሜ አሁን ስክሪን ላይ ፊት ለፊት ማይስ ታስጎበኘን የነበረው እባክህን አመቻችና እንደው ከመሄዴ በፊት ቢኒም አለ ይሄንን ደግሞ ከሁሉም በፊት የዝና እድሜ ይስጥሽ እሷ ነች ወደዚህ ሊንኩን አመቻችታ ከአንዲት እህት ጋር ተነጋግራ እናንተ እንዳገኘና እዚህ ላይ እንድሳተፍ ያደረግሽው የዝና የእግዚአብሔር ይስጥሽ ተወዳጇ ድምጻዊት መወዳት ማከብራት አርቲስት እንዲሁም ግጥምና ዜማ ደራሲ እባካችሁ ሊቃውንቶቹም ዛሬ እነ አየለ በከሪ ሲያስተምሩ ነበር መከላከያዎች ውስጥ እና አዲስ አበባ የሚያየው ነበር እና እባካችሁ let's work together. I want to just visit Bazia alone. I really want to communicate my soul with that place. It's amazing. I don't know many kilometers እንደሆነ the distance from I'm around Angel in London.
You need to plug in እሁድ ኮች እንዳለ ምናምን ብትነግረው ጥሩ ነው። I think እህታችን ብርሃንም ቦታ ካላት ብትጠይቅ ጥሩ ነው። የሚመጡ ሰዎች ካሉ እንዲመጡ።
Please, exactly. That's important. አሁን ወንድሜ አሁን ያለውን ኮንሲደር አድርጉ። ሌሎች ሰዎችንም ብዙ ሰዎች አትሊስት ኢንፍሉዌንስ ሊፈጥሩ የሚችሉ ወይ የሚደመጡ የሚወደዱ የሚከበሩ የሚሰሙ ሰዎች ከወጣቶችም ከልጆችም አሁን ለምሳሌ ኦርጋናይዘሮቹን አሁን እዚህ ሲያዘጋጁ የነበሩትን ብትከቷቸው በሚቀጥለው አመት ድብልቅልቅ ያለ ፕሮግራም ያዘጋጁታል። እኔም I will promise. Before a month I was in the US just to introduce my foundation. I have a foundation entitled that Bethlehem the Ethiopia Humanitarian and Charitable Works Foundation. So አንዱ ስራዬ ይሄ ነው እና ወይዘሮ ፀሐይ ናይስ ስላየሁት ደስ ብሎኛል።
ዶክተር ፀሐይ ዶክተር ናቸው።
ዶክተር ፀሐይ የት ነው ያሉት? እርሱ አሁን ፀሐይ ያለበት ቦታ ነው ያሉት የሚታየኝ። ወይ ኢትዮጵያ ነው ወይ አሜሪካ ነው? ኢትዮጵያ ለካ መሽቷል፣ ሌሊት ነው።
ኦክስፎርድ
ፀሐይ ያለበት ቦታ ያሉ ይመስላል። ኦኬ ኢትስ ላይት ነው። ያው ፀሐይ ስለሆነ ስሞት እንግዲህ ፀሐይ ለብቻው ተወጥቶሎትም ይሆናል።
እሺ
በእውነት ደስ ብሎኛል እርሶንም ማግኘቴ።
ደሳለኝ ትመጣለህ እሁድ ዕለት መጪ ነህ?
እኔ ፕራይቬት ይሰጣለሁ።
ይቅርታ ደሳለኝ አንተማ ትመጣለህ ከዝና ጋር ተነጋግረናል። ምንም ችግር የለም። የዝና አዘጋጅታለች። ካልሆነም ባስም አለ ከህዝቡ ጋር አብረን ሄድ ከፈለክ
ከህዝቡ ጋር ነው ከሰፊው ህዝብ ጋር ብሎ አልቀድሞ ዶክተር
ኦኬ እንደዛም ከፈለክ እንግዲህ ቦታ ፈልጋለሁ። ሁለት ባስ አለ። ሁለት ባሱ ሞልቷል ግን ይፈልጋል። ምንም አይደለም። ችግር የለም።
ሚዲያ ምን ይኖራል?
በዝና
ወጣቶች በተለይ ልጆች ዩቲዩበርስ አብሮ ህፃናትና ልጆች ትንሽ ቦታ እንዲኖራቸው አድርጉ ፕሊዝ። ልጆች ውስጥ እንዲያድግ
ወደ 40 ምናምን ከሁለት ባስ ውስጥ 123 ሰው ውስጥ 40 ምናምኖች ልጆች ናቸው።
That's nice. Thank you.
እሱን ነው ያደረኩትና ልጆች ናቸው።
ማን ለበለኔ መቤት ሚሽን
ብርሃን ዳኘ ይባላል።
አትሌት ሆነ ብርሃን
አትሌት ብርሃን ዳኘ እንግዲህ
ኦኬ
ሳነች ጋበዘችን ደሳለኝ ብርሃን
እሺ thank you ብርሃን የኔ መቤት ኖርልኝ።
እሺ አምናም የጋበዘችን እሷ ናት ለመጀመሪያ ጊዜ። አሁን ለኔ ሁለተኛ ነው፣ ላንተ መጀመሪያ ጊዜ ነው።
thank you የዝና ብርሃን የምድሜ ይስጣችሁ። በእውነት በጣም ደክሞኛል ግን በዚህ ምሽት ይሄን ያህል ሰዓት ቁጭ ብዬ አመዝድ እየሆንኩ ነው። እኔ አቶ ዝራን እንደው ሳገኛቸው እግራቸው ስር መውደቅ ፈልጋለሁ በእውነት።
ደሳለኝ
አሜሪካ ነገር አውሮፕላን ዘመጣለን
ኢንጂነር እየሰማሁ ነበር። I love your approach. Thank you.
እንግዲህ ትንሽም የደከማችሁ አላችሁ። ጃፓን ያሉትን አተኝ እንተዋቸዋለን ቁባቸዋል። የምትመጣ ከሆነ ደሳለኝ እሁድ በጉጉት እንጠብቃለን።
I promise. ታይሙን ብቻ የዝና ታሳው የዝና ትነግረኛለች።
ዝና ጋር ተወራጭ በቃ በጣም ጥሩ መልካም። በዛን ጊዜ ቤተሰቦችም ይኖራሉ። So one of our board of directors, Benji, would like to say a few words.
Okay, great, thank you.
Just to say that we look forward to welcoming everyone on Sunday, and we'll be meeting at Bath Abbey at 11:30. And Bath Abbey is a place that was very special to the emperor. It was the first site that he would have seen when he arrived in Bath. He went in there. There's a large photo of him next door in the Roman bath. And then we'll be marching the 2 miles from Bath Abbey to Fairfield House. And we're going to have a special area for the children. But we recommend there to be people supervising the children. And we're all going to have a great time in the house respecting this sacred and very special place for Ethiopian history.
Fantastic. ለመጨመር ያክል ባዝ አቢ ካቴድራሉ ከኢምፔሪያል ስላሴና ከዚህ ጋር ትልቅ ታሪክ የተያያዛለው በ11 ሰዓት ተኩል አውቶቡሱ እዛ ይመጣል ብራንና ጓደኞቹ እንዳስተካከሉት ከዛ ከባዝ አቢ ባረከባተ ከካቴድራል በተክርስቲያኑ እዚህ ፌርፊልድ ሃውስ ድረስ የ2 ማይል ነው ጉዞ 45 ደቂቃ በእግር እንጓዛለን ከዛ የመጨረሻዋን የተጓዙትን አባቶቻችን አስተዋወሰን እዚህ እንገናኛለን ማለት ነው ይሄን ይመስላል እንግዲህ ከነገ ወዲያ እሁድ ዝግጅት
That's great.
We'll have a finish line set up for the troops that are marching and we'll all celebrate together.
የመጀመሪያ የደረሰ ሲደርስ ፊኒሺንግ ላይን አለ ሰብሮ ይገባል ማለት ነው
That's nice.
አበባ ምናምን
አለች ሌላ ሰው ጋሽ ዝራ ትንሽ አንድ ነገር እንዲናገሩ እድል ስጥልኝ እባክህ
ኦኬ
መሽቷል እና እንግዲህ እናገባ
አረሽ
ለውድ ይቆየን ስለዚህ እንደዛ ከሆነ ስላየን ደስ ብሎናል ደሳለኝ በጣም እናመሰግናለን እኔም ፍስሐ በላለሁ
ናይስ ሚቲንግ ፍስሐ
እሁድ እስከምንገናኝ ድረስ ሁላችሁም ስለተገኛችሁ Thank you everyone for taking this.
Thank you organizers. ተባረኩ
ኢንጂነር ስኬል በጣም እናመሰግናለን ስለምታደርገው ሁላ
everyone
እናመሰግና ይሄ ዙም ሚቲንግ ግን እዚህ ለተወለዱ ልጆች ፕሊዝ ተሰባስባችሁ እዚህ ያሉችሁ አባቶቻችን ብታስተምሩልን በወር ወይ በሁለት ወር አንዴ ይሄን ነገር ባለፈው ታስቦ ነበርና ፍስሐ ፕሊዝ ይሄንን ነገር አስቡበትና በዙም ልጆቻችንን ቢማሩ ጥሩ ነው አመሰግናለሁ ደናደሩ የሁድ ሰው ይበለን
አሜን Thank you.
ስለዚህ በቃ ሰላም ደናደሩ እንባባል
Thank you all thank you
Recording stopped.
Thank you everybody.
ሰላም ደሩላችሁ ciao
Amen.
By the way it's been live on YouTube so we'll send you a link okay
Oh fantastic Bye bye.
All right, cheers. Thank you.
Welcome. Have a lovely evening, guys.
Okay.
Amen.
Bye.
ጊዮርጊስ አይለያችሁ ከነበረሱ
አሜን ጎር ኢንጂነር በርታለን እንግዲህ ከአሜሪካ እየገሰገስክና
ጊዮርጊስ ነው